Alrighty, everybody, welcome to another episode of Table Talk. Joining us today, you have Miss Lady Divergent, as always, co-hosting with us. And then today, our guest today is Mr. Botch TV. He's going. What's going on? Today, he's going to share his journey in making content, some life experiences. He's got some great stories to tell. I can already figure this one out just due to the fact that we've had numerous conversations about various experiences, things that he's gone through, Twitter posts, things like that. So, guys, make sure you sit back, enjoy it, ask any questions you may have. Um, and if you can't catch the whole stream, don't worry, it will be up on Spotify as well. So, Mr. Botch, are you ready to get going? Alrighty. So, first off, how long have you been making content? Damn. And how old are you now? 25. So you've been making content since you were 10 years old. Alrighty. Uh, how did how did you get started? I gotta just start there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was. But yeah, I got into that and I had a big surgery when I was, I want to say like maybe 10, 11. Out of school for like 2 to 3 months. And I had two casts on my legs and couldn't move and all that stuff. But even before that, um, I had a really good friend in the fourth and fifth grade, and one day we just said, "Hey, want to make YouTube videos?" And I didn't have a capture card or anything, so we just kind of just figured it out. We took my shower bench because I had a shower bench that
Mm-hmm.
I would sit on when I had the hip surgery, and so I took that, took my laptop, had the integrated webcam, and pointed it at the TV. And that's what I recorded with until I got a capture card 2 years later. And that was the very first Elgato capture card that came out.
Okay.
Um, but
That is
that's how I got
absolutely
started.
insane.
I probably would have honestly given up at that point, and just said, fuck it when I can afford it. So, damn, I'm trying to. That's a lot to go
Okay, so
through. Go ahead, Ben.
my question comes down to it is, like, where did the idea come up that if you faced your laptop at the screen of the TV, that you would be able to record and people could see what you were saying? Like, where did that thought process come? Because, like, I'm thinking my kids at that age were not that smart.
I'll be honest, I
Um,
wouldn't have been that smart, so,
Yeah, like what sparked the thought of like if I flip it, everybody's gonna see it.
well, honestly, I've been around computers my whole life.
Okay.
I got my first laptop. It was a refurbished laptop for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that, and that was going to be my laptop to do schoolwork because my mom knew that I was going to be out of school for like 2 to 3 months due to surgery, and I would have to get a tutor. That's how bad it was. I would have to get a tutor because I would fall behind so far
Oh
in
wow.
school. And so um, I got that, and I had that for a while, and I don't know. I don't really know what brought on the idea. Hey, um, it's kind of like the saying "f around and find out," and that's
That's
kind of
right.
what I did was f around and found out, and eventually I got my first capture card. I think it was the Dazzle, and it was terrible. I had all these wires and everything else. It wasn't as simple as the Elgato where you plug in two HDMI cables, plug it into the computer, and there you go.
Yeah.
It wasn't as simple as that. It was a lot more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I just thought since I'm, physically disabled, can't do sports, can't do all the things that, you know, in my opinion, or at least in my school's opinion, in terms of school cred, actually mattered. I thought, well, I'm a computer geek. I've been
Mm-hmm.
around computers forever, so why don't I give this a shot? I just kind of was just like, well, you like being on computer, you like typing on your computer, you like doing this, why not try it?
Right. So
And
it's like
fast forward 15 years later, and I'm still doing it.
there you
So,
go. It's like the old saying goes, play to your strengths. So,
yeah, pretty
I
um,
much.
love the tenacity behind it, like the thought process and the drive to be able to do something to make yourself happy, knowing that you weren't going to be able, to do what other kids could do.
mhm.
Oh, 100%. I knew my limitations. I kind of, when I was younger, I always knew that I had a disability because I've lived with it my whole life.
Hmm.
So I always knew that I had it. But the funny thing is I walked around acting like I didn't have one.
Mhm.
Because I was labeled a lot, bullied relentlessly. Most of my bullies were women, so that hurt a lot more than some dude. Because I don't know what it is, but I guess
Women are
maybe
brutal.
yeah. I didn't
They
want to
are.
say anything, but you said it for me,
No,
so I didn't have
no,
to.
no. Women are brutal, and we are cutthroat, and we say the
Oh,
meanest things humanly possible.
Mhm.
100%. And I've talked with my grandmother about the same thing, and my grandmother, she grew up poor and was bullied and stuff like that. And she said I was talking to her about the differences between men and women, and I said, "Well, men, if a man bullies another guy, we're like F you 2 see you tomorrow." But when, you see two women arguing with each other, it's like cutthroat, like like they'll go deep for it, because there's
Yep.
and that's what it is. And I feel like, and me, I've had a lot of things said to me, but for some reason, women just knew how to,
Women
or at
always,
least the women I knew how to cut throat,
yeah.
at least.
Well, we talked about this one time. What is it? I think with when we talked with Dana, um, women seem to have a better mindset of how to cut mentally, whereas guys are just gonna
Mm-hmm.
go. Guys are more direct. You know, they want to hurt somebody. They're literally going to hurt you. You know,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
um, so quick, you said you have a physical disability. You had it for your whole life. What is
Yep.
your disability?
So, it's cerebral palsy. It's a
Okay.
neurological disorder. Basically, the way I describe it, to a 5-year-old is
Mm-hmm.
think of it like your cell phone and text messages. You know how you have to have service for calls to go through
Okay.
and service for text messages to go through. Basically, your brain has what's called neurons, and those neurons basically tell your body what to do.
Okay.
Tell your body to talk, tell your body to pick up your foot when you walk, all those kinds of things. Basically, my brain has a hard time getting getting that message, so I drag my foot when I walk, or I might not walk the right way, or my knee may give out, or something may physically happen. There's multiple forms of it. There's some people who can't talk, who are completely nonverbal.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people who can't use their legs. There's some people who can't. There's different forms of it, but mine mostly affects my lower extremities. I
Okay.
do have a hard time holding things. Like hard time shaving, brushing my teeth, like simple things, which sucks because, it's just something that us humans think that is so simple, but it's not,
Yeah,
um,
makes the day to
for
day
someone
stuff.
like me. So,
No, I get it.
Now,
I just make do with what I got.
now, curiosity. Are you, and I, please, I don't mean any disrespect in it. It may not
Oh,
come out
100%.
properly, so just bear with me. Um, are you like wheelchair bound for like 90% of the time because of the legs?
No.
And are you, and do you, like, you just have moments where your legs will just give out?
Oh, 100%. I have moments where my legs will just
Okay.
give out. I could stand for about 2 to 3 hours straight if I really wanted to.
Okay.
And I have.
But I'm sure that's
But
a challenge in itself.
oh yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And my legs will be hurting. My legs will be hurting, and I have to be leaning on something. So as long as I have something to lean on or a walking stick or something, I'm
Mhm.
good. But if I'm just standing, and that's what I'm doing, I can only stand for maybe 5, 10 minutes before I
Okay.
have to sit down. I can only walk for 5 to 10 minutes before I have to sit down. I have asthma too, so that sucks. But
Mhm.
so like, and because I'm a premature baby, my heart, I'm actually on blood pressure medication because my heart rate got up to 120
Oh wow.
just sitting. Um, and
Wow.
and and that's and that's because I'm a premature baby, so they said, oh, his heart is going to be like that for the rest of his life. So I could walk from the kitchen, which I'm only a couple feet from, and my heart would just explode.
Oh wow.
That helps.
Now,
The anxiety doesn't help either. So
Yeah.
now you said with being a premature baby,
yeah,
how premature were you?
a couple weeks maybe. I don't know exactly. My mom knows, but I
No,
have
I'm
a
just curious
medical
because
history so long that I don't
I'm
even know.
sure.
Now
I
and
was just curious because with each child it's different and
Hmm.
depending on, like you have so many um you've had so many issues
Hmm.
that I can see where one plays off the other and that could really make them more difficult all around.
Oh, 100%. My life hasn't been easy.
I can
But
imagine.
I don't complain about it.
Hmm.
There's people that ask me, they're like, "How do you get out of bed every morning?" And I said, "Because I don't have any other choice. I
That's
could either sit in bed and hate myself, which I have before many times.
hmm
I've struggled with anxiety and depression. I've had um terrible thoughts in my head, mostly because my father's family had wanted nothing to do with me. My father had passed when I was 3 or 4 years old. The only memory I have of him is being on a jet ski, but he cheated on my mother and was never around. My mother likes to make excuses for Glenn, as I call him, but you know, um, I tell her not to because
Right.
she tells me, "Oh, he would be a part of your life if he was alive," and I would tell my mom, "No, he wouldn't. Don't lie to me.
Right.
You know damn well that he wouldn't care." The only thing that he left me was a trust fund so I could get through college, which I didn't get through. I didn't have to take out student loans. I didn't have to do anything. All that money was left to me.
Okay.
But that's the only good thing that my father was good for, was that. Other than that, and yes, he did take part in bringing me to the world because that's where babies come from. But other than that, um, I I may have his last name, but I am nothing like him at
Okay.
all. And I've always fought to not be like him because I know how he is,
Okay.
and I know how his family is. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've dealt with. So I
That's
mean, I've dealt with other things too, but I'm
well.
pretty sure we'll get into that. But
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about your content and with coupling with your disability. So you said you
yep.
started with Call of Duty videos, correct? Did I hear that correctly?
I started watching guys that made Call of Duty. I was doing whatever. I wasn't doing the sports content, wrestling content that you see now.
Mm-hmm.
My first YouTube channel was the Optimus Prime 122, and I was literally just doing random crap. I've had multiple channels throughout the years, XD Extinction, XPA Gaming, a bunch of other channels throughout the years, but eventually I got to I in 2018 I got WWE 2K18. It was around WWE 2K18's, like the end of WWE 2K18's life cycle because a new game comes out every year.
Right.
And I was watching Chris Danker, and also known as Dank Ops,
Mm-hmm.
BDE, Brandon Does Everything, Simply Better AM, and all of those guys did wrestling content.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically made themselves in the game. and they just did wrestling content, and I was like, huh, this is cool. And I watched this one guy, Murph's YT13, and he's an Australian guy, and he did universe mode. And universe mode is basically making your own version of Raw or SmackDown, and he did that. And he would he used to do CPU versus CPU, and then he started playing the matches himself and commentating it.
Mm-hmm.
And he just had so much passion in his. I could tell that he was a fan of the product, of the actual product of wrestling.
Okay.
And I was like, huh, that's very, very interesting. And I said, well, I can't be a wrestler,
Mm-hmm.
and I know I can't. There's a guy that I know that has the same disability as me that is a wrestler, which is impressive. He doesn't think it is, but I think it is. He's insane. But I thought to myself, once one of my favorite wrestlers retired due to injury, and she was the general manager of SmackDown. They put her in an authority role. I was like, huh, she can't wrestle anymore. She's 25 years old, retired from wrestling. She can't wrestle, but she can do this. What if I could do that?
Okay.
And so I was in bed one night watching SmackDown, and I thought of the name Brian Outlaw, and that was it.
Okay.
That was it. That was going to be my wrestler name. That was going to be something I was going to make something out of. Fast forward, we have my creation known as the Outlaw family. 5 different characters that I've created throughout the years who I've based off of my real life,
Mm.
and I've been doing the show RCW Ravage Championship Wrestling for 6 to 7 years, and that's been a staple of the channel for that long. And
Wow.
that's where Botch TV came from. That's where the name came from. Botch means you mess up a move in wrestling.
Oh,
So
I just got it.
TV
Okay.
wrestling. So
Mhm.
it works.
I'll be
Okay.
honest, it didn't click for me until just now. Okay, so um, I want to dive into more of the mechanics. So, like you said, that sometimes your upper body struggles, right? So, when you're doing this, do you ever struggle to get the content the right way that you want, or do you have to do like retakes of it? Like, how does that affect what you're doing?
Uh, like I've never had to. The only thing I've had to do retakes or re-records is probably when something technological is screwed up.
Okay.
There's been times where, um, I don't know, like the game glitches and I have to restart the match,
Okay.
or I didn't like the way a match ended. Like for example, tag team matches. God, I hate these things. But at least they made an edit in 2K24, so they'll be better. But one of the biggest things about tag team matches in WWE 2K games is the AI is so dumb. They're stupid. Like I'm controlling the match and I'm battling the computer, but when you're controlling one person in a tag match and you make the tag, it automatically switches to the person that made the tag. And when you go for a pin, your partner is supposed to knock the other guy off the apron so he doesn't break up the pin count,
Mhm.
and the match doesn't last forever. Well, apparently the AI is so stupid that they don't do it in time. So a match could last 20 to 30 minutes in a recording, and it takes forever. And so it's just annoying, but that's the only time I've ever had to really retake anything besides promos, because I don't script those.
Okay.
And promos are just when you go out to the audience and talk as a wrestler in
Right.
character. But promos, I don't script those.
Right.
I do it all improvised. So there's times where I've screwed up, but I've gotten better about it over the years.
Okay. So I know 2K is on console. Is it on PC as well?
Oh yes, the
Okay.
modding community is amazing for that game.
Okay.
You'll
so,
never find a more passionate community than them.
So are you on console or are you on PC when you do it?
I'm on Xbox Series X, so
Xbox.
I'm
Okay.
on Xbox. Yeah.
So
Now, go ahead.
um, so you don't have any issues like. I guess what I'm trying to for somebody like me, like when you said break it down for like a 5-year-old, that's literally me because like I'll be honest, I'm one of those that has to be educated in this kind of stuff because
Right.
it's something you don't think about it until it's actually in front of your face. So like I know
Right.
I know that cerebral palsy is out there. Okay,
Yeah.
but I don't know much beyond its
Most
name.
people don't, so don't feel bad about it.
And that's why I might ask some questions that are stupid, but for people like me
No,
who
they're
don't,
not stupid questions. It's better than than the question that I told you in stream the
yeah,
one time that somebody asked
don't
me.
worry,
So,
not gonna be coming up. But um, so you said that so you're on Xbox. You said that sometimes you have issues with using your hands, right? Like sometimes
yeah.
controlling your hands. So it doesn't. You've never really had much of an issue when it comes to making the content on console. Like I'm
Nope.
trying. Oh, so it's always
I'm
just
I'm a I'm a whiz, dude. People don't want to play me in WWE 2K because I'm that good. My friends don't want to play me because I like live and die by that game. I
okay.
have no issues. I actually have really good hand-eye coordination, and I feel like playing games has actually improved me holding things and my hand-eye coordination. Um, and and I used to play 12 hours like all the time. I'm like, during the summer.
Okay,
So
you feel gaming has actually helped your condition to a degree?
oh, 100%.
Okay.
Like when I read articles on, how it can help hand-eye coordination
Mhm.
and stuff like that, it's like that. It's like, yeah, it's definitely helped me. I have quick reflexes. I'm able to, and plus when you're playing one game, because WWE is pretty much what I play all the
Hmm.
time, 24/7. You get good at it, just like with anything else.
Which is
Practice,
interesting
practice,
because
practice.
it kind of disproves the timeless controversy of are video games good for people, or
Right.
there's actually is a we have somebody here with a medical condition who can say, no, video games have actually helped improve my life. What the fuck,
Hmm.
So that's why that's where my brain was, or my thought process
Right.
was behind it was. I'm thinking, okay, everybody always says video games are bad, but here I've got somebody now telling me, no, he's got an issue.
Well, everybody's gonna find a scapegoat for everything. First, it was what? TV shows, movies, whatever the hell,
Yeah.
and GTA for violence in the world and whatnot. Like
Hmm.
people are gonna find something to blame on something, and I think it's just a bunch of parents that didn't parent their kids well enough,
Exactly.
that have are trying to just find something to scapegoat, and it's like, well, maybe
Hmm.
if you paid attention to your kid a little bit more, you wouldn't be in that problem.
Right.
You wouldn't have that issue. You probably, or maybe, if you actually, I don't know, because most people that complain about things, I feel like they're just not educated enough on a lot of those things.
That's fair.
I'll be
So,
honest, I used to be one of those complainers. I used to be one of those who would be like, well, if you didn't do this, this wouldn't have happened. Like,
right.
and I'd be like, well, 'cause when our kids were younger, I had no interest whatsoever, and I was unwilling to listen and hear what people were saying because I was so close-minded at that point in time.
Hmm.
Which is fair.
And I think the difference is it's a lack of education or
Hmm.
wanting to know about what people are talking about, but I think it's a lot easier to blame a game and a creator of a game and say this is your fault for my child's issues than
Hmm.
for saying, hey, I fucked up as a parent and I needed to step up and do a better job.
100%. I get that all the time with wrestling when people tell me it's fake.
I just think it's
Yeah.
so easy to just plan it off and just say, well, I gave my kid a video game and this is what happened. So because I didn't parent and that video game did, it's, the video game's fault, not mine. No, you
Right.
should have been a parent.
No, it's like, no, there's times where my mom took my Xbox or PlayStation away if I did something bad or whatever. I knew
Hmm.
not to do that crap again.
Yeah.
And then my mom's like ex always he would always get mad when I wouldn't want to go to his family outings. Like, what am I gonna have in common with a bunch of people that, don't play games? They're big football junkies. I'm a football guy. I'm a sports guy, but other than that, I don't have anything in common with those people. If I don't have anything in common with them, I'm gonna sit there on my phone and scroll and whatever. Like that's
Okay.
how
Hmm.
I am. I'm cool. Like you get me comfortable like I am right now. I'll talk your ears off. That's fine. But like other than that, like I'm not gonna make conversation. Like when I came into your guys' stream and you guys were having fun and I'm like, "Oh, these," and then, I found out that you guys, were married and all that. And I was like, oh, cool, husband and wife playing games together. That's cool. Like, cause that's something I don't see a lot of, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a lot of it.
Mm-mm.
And then when I heard, um, that he kind of got you into gaming, like you weren't
He
into
did.
gaming at first, and then
Yep.
I'm like, oh, I said, that's even cooler because you weren't into it,
Mm-mm.
yet you seeing him have fun with it and everything else and want to enjoy that with him, like that's a real amazing thing because not a lot, because there's been some people that are like, oh, I'll let my husband do his thing, that's his thing, and you're cool
Mhm.
with it and you support it, and that's whatever. Or you're the opposite and you're not supportive of it, like my ex was. My ex hated everything that I did.
Mhm.
But that's her problem, not mine. And that's what I think is awesome, is when you're able to find that person that you're able to share that stuff with. And
It took a lot of convincing.
oh, 100%. I have no
It
doubt.
did.
I have no doubt
It did.
about
It
that.
took a lot of convincing, and I think there was a stream where I think he was live, and somebody had come in to hang out with us and was chilling, and they were like, "We just want 5 minutes, one game of Apex."
Yeah.
And he caught me into he caught me into sit down in the chair with the damn controller in my hand, and I was like,
I remember that.
I
I
don't
was
know
thinking.
what the fuck I'm doing.
I have no idea what the hell I'm doing with it.
Well, she has no hand-eye coordination. Period. Like, for example, period. And anything she does, the only thing that which is funny because she's a very crafty person. She does quilting.
Yeah,
on
I
her
think
off
I
time.
saw some pictures.
Yeah. So, and you would think she would have hand-eye coordination with that, but the amount of times that we've had to, help her stitch, her finger back together, or we've taken her to the hospital because she's almost cut it off. Hell,
That's funny.
last night she made chicken fajitas for dinner, right? And
That's awesome. I like chicken fajitas.
Well, they were
awesome in what they were.
egg.
Yes, don't get me wrong. But when I'm sitting here, so in my camera, you can kind of see the refrigerator. So you see how close I am to the
Yeah.
kitchen here, right?
Yeah.
And she's standing right there, and then at the counter right across from it. And all of a sudden I hear, hold on, I got to keep my finger attached to my body. Keep my finger attached. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, you're really having to coach yourself into not cutting your finger off. That is the lack of hand-eye coordination of the show. So imagine putting a controller.
That's terrifying. I'm
Absolutely.
good.
Oh, yeah. I found myself staring at the fajitas. I was like, okay, is there a finger in here? Are we?
Like, hang on. Let me check this first
have
before
all
I
10
eat it.
digits. I have all 10 digits, I swear. But no, I find myself, because like I have legitimately cut my fingertip off to where I had nothing but the bone. It was all
Ew.
that kept my finger together.
So
Like,
so
I have
imagine
done
putting
it.
an Xbox controller in somebody like her's hands and ask her to play a game where she has to be ambidextrous with both hands, both her thumbs, and somebody who already has a horrible attention span when it comes to her husband anyway. Okay. And
Whoa.
say, babe, I need you to focus on this game here and pay attention to
Whoa.
all the moving objects on here.
I would get caught on one thing, and that would be it. I would be like,
Yeah.
okay, I see him here, but you want me to get this over here. How do I get there? Like, my brain
Yeah.
could not fathom what you were asking of me.
Yeah. I think I've always been around it. So
Yeah.
me, that was something that just came naturally. It's the same thing with my commentary. People are like, how do you do that? And I'm like, you're doing it with yourself. Like, you know how, like, on sports, there's usually two people, color and play-by-play. They're like, you're doing it by yourself. And I'm like, yeah, but it comes naturally. I love this sport. I love wrestling. I love doing it. I love the analysis of stuff. I'm a sucker for that stuff.
Okay.
Like, sometimes I'll watch sports broadcasts just because of who's commentating it. Like, because I know it's going to be good. Sometimes, like, if I'm not into the commentary, it's like, I'll mute it because it's like, I was at a wrestling event this past weekend. I was literally commentating the match in my head as I was watching it. Like, and it just feels so weird not doing it.
Now, do you stream your content live or is it all recorded?
Oh, it's live.
Always live? Okay.
All of it's live. Yeah.
I caught him the other day for the first time.
Well, no, and I had a chance to kind of pop it for a second, and I tried to come in a couple of times and say, hey, but every time work gets, I got to shut it off.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the time I get him up and he's there, but I'm busy with calls, and I can't hear him. So I'm just kind of watching. I think the other day
Right.
when I caught you, you were playing baseball.
Oh, the Missions franchise, Carson Pittman.
Yes.
Oh, I love
Yes.
him.
So
I love that motherfucker.
So
I caught that, but that was going to be my question. Is content wise, is it 90% of the time wrestling and then like 10% of the time just whatever you feel like? Or like what should your viewer expect when they come to see you?
100% wrestling, because that's what I that's my bread and butter. But I've found I've done other content. I've done NBA in the past, but that was more for YouTube.
mhm.
Less live. I do have we do have NCAA football 25 coming out, and I love college football. That's all over. I'm all over that. I already have a team name picked out. I already know what I'm gonna do. I already have a logo picked out. I already know exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna customize all the players if I can. Get a recruiting board, all that stuff. I love doing all that. Like, I love creating in the sense of like making a character and making it your own. And Super Mega Baseball allows you to take even players that you've signed. They have pre-generated players. You can take those players, edit the looks of them, give them new names, give them everything, and make them your own. Like, you don't have to have like some of the players. They'll have like weird names because it's not like MLB The Show where it's actual like players. There are some actual players in Super Mega Baseball for like Big Papi, David Ortiz, and some other ones. But I like being able to customize them, like Carson Pittman, the Hitman. I call him the Hitman. That's his nickname. Just because he's a badass and he is who he is. And I love the analysis of it. Like, oh, can we sign this guy? What's this guy's batting average? Is this guy gonna be the future? Like, it's kind of like, when you watch the NFL draft or the sports, the sports or the NBA draft, where it's like, oh, is this guy gonna be the future of our franchise? Or is he just gonna be a guy that we sign for the playoffs or whatever? Like, I love having to think like that, and that game is just one of those games that I can do that's not wrestling in one of my streaming days. And then once, obviously, NCAA football comes out and another wrestling game or something that entertains me comes out. But I feel like I just love doing the sports side of things because it's a commentary and it brings a whole different thing out of me than, say, Fortnite. I do play Fortnite with friends and screw around with friends and stuff like that. But I like doing that because I love the analytical side of it. I love doing the play-by-play, and it's just fun. Down to it, it's just fun. Because if you're not having fun, then what the hell are you doing then? So that's something that I just do. That's what people expect when they come to my channel. So I feel so weird not doing wrestling right now.
And that's fine. You do it for a bit, and but. So my question is, the reason why I'd asked about if it was live or not, how do you balance doing the live, like the commentary and everything, to where, but then also engaging with your chat?
See, that's hard. So, for example, if you just came in and I'm in the middle of a match and I'm calling a move, there are parts of the match where there isn't a move happening. Or something like that. So, let's say I'm playing right now. I got my controller in my hand, just playing a match. You come in, you say, "Hey, what's up?" And I'll be like, "What's up? What's up, Misfit?" And then I would go right back to that mode. I'm able to switch that on and off, so I can still do it. And I have my laptop like on this desk here that has wheels on it. And my TV is like a few feet in front of me, so I could easily glance over real quick and see it. And I could just switch right back on commentary, like it's nothing. It's just a natural thing. I'm able to flip that switch, greet you in the stream, and then go right back to doing my thing. If you type something else in, I'll respond to that, or I'll say, "Hang on, hang on, we got something going on here," and then I'll get to it. So it's difficult, but I've learned how to do it, which often surprises a lot of people. because when I'm commentating, I have that commentator voice on.
Right.
So I greet you in my commentator voice, and then I do go right back to commentating the match, just like nothing else happened. But if you interrupt me, like if you're my mom or somebody or whatever, if you throw me off, like if you like for whatever reason, if live space gets raids and then an alert pops up, that's gonna fuck it all. That's gonna that actually happened once. I was on Twitch and I got raided, and I think it was like a 40 to 50 raid from my friend. And all I hear is Judas by Fozzy, Chris Jericho's band. I just hear that alert come off, and I'm like, Spud, thanks for the raid. You threw me off, you bastard. Like, no, I can't. like, you didn't have to do that, man. No, you threw me off. Thanks a lot. Like, but then I'll get right back to it, and I'll be like, welcome everybody to RCW, and then we go, and then it's just that's just something that happens.
Okay,
You're
so
right back to where you were without
Yeah.
any issues.
so
100%.
I would imagine that you have to keep an amount of energy going in order to.
Oh hell yeah!
Do you,
That's why I do my streams early in the day.
Okay, that's definitely fair. Are there ever times where you find that the energy dips, where you're like, oh god, it's not the same?
Oh no.
You're able to
Nope.
keep it. It's 100% all the way through.
Oh yep.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. And it's because of
Does
those characters. It's because of those characters and the stories that get put in it.
Okay.
If it weren't for those, if it weren't for the stuff that I do with the characters, giving them voices, sometimes I'll use an AI voice changer and give them voices. And I'll put personal stories into my characters, personal stories in my real life, and oftentimes the viewers don't know it's real. They don't know. Unless I explicitly tell you that it's real, or that it's based off something, they don't know.
You would think it's just a written script.
Well, you would think, oh, this is just a story.
Right.
Just like anything else. But then when you find out that it actually happened, or something, that it's based on something, I feel like it draws you in more. Plus, it's also that, like, holy shit moment. Like, that actually happened. Like, for example, one of the stories that I did, Scarlet Nova, she's my character's love interest. I took my grandmother's alcoholism that I dealt with for 2 years, and I put that story on her. So the story of her is that her father was not in the picture, and her mother is a drunk, and she's obsessed with space, hence the name Nova and everything else. And she loves wrestling, and she's 20 years old, and she is dealing with this like moral dilemma of, do I leave my grandma or do I leave my mother
Wow.
and go be a wrestler, or do I stay with her and financially support her? And that's something that I had to actually deal with. Do I leave my grandma and go to Texas with my mom and live my life, or do I spend all this time watching my grandmother literally kill herself with alcohol? And never do anything. So, that was something that I actually had to deal with. And my grandmother, she was sad when I left, and I said, you understand why I have to leave, right? I have to leave because I can't be around this. I can't watch you do this to yourself, and I can't pay your bills. I have to live my life. I never got to live my life as a child. I've had 12 surgeries. I have to live my life now as an adult.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I have to do all the fun things now as an adult, which kind of sucks because when you're an adult, you have to work, you have to do all this, and this. And when you're a kid, you don't got those responsibilities. Your parents are taking care of you for 18 years. Like, and so on and so forth. Like, so you don't got to deal with that. You got to be a kid. But I didn't get that option. And, then of course, obviously, I've gone through a lot of things, and meeting Lindsay from Paris and all that, and I got a 7-year friendship that I have with her, whatever you want to call it, 7-year friendship. I don't call it a friendship because it's definitely something else. But then you got that, and then obviously me going through therapy and my mental health and trying to get myself mentally right and physically healthy, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much me. Like, I base stories off of my actual life, and so I think that's why it never gets stale, is because I'm always adding something.
Okay.
As long as shit keeps happening to me, I'm gonna put it in my content, whether the viewer knows it or not.
Okay. Now,
Uh,
do you ever explain any of that while you're streaming, or is it just you just want it to be about the story that they see?
um, in when I'm in that commentary zone, it's 100% commentary, and it's 100% they see it for what it is.
Okay.
If I'm creating characters, like when the new game comes out on Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
that is when I have time, and I'll get questions like, "Oh, who's this character?" Then I'll explain the character.
Okay.
But when I'm in that commentary zone, in the announcing zone, and I'm just doing my thing, that is when, um, that's the mode that I'm in,
Mm-hmm.
and they just have to watch it.
Okay.
And that's why basically what I do, I know that Live Space does have VODs, but what I do is I turn the VODs off. I know the VODs are automatically public, but I turn them off. I record the matches at the same time, record the segments, have them in different scenes in OBS, and just click them on my stream deck and play it out like an actual wrestling show. I edit all of that together, get the thumbnail, post it to YouTube with all the music and all the entrance themes, everything, and they can watch it in a playlist on their own time, in
Hmm.
case they miss it live. And
Now,
that's
do you do the same for live space too for your VOD once you've done all that for YouTube? Or does
uh
that only go to YouTube?
that only goes to YouTube,
Okay.
and
I
that's
wish,
just because of the limitations of live space and storage and stuff like that.
right.
And
I'm hoping live space will get to a point where we can have that option to do stuff like that.
yeah, so
Because
yeah,
that would take your content on live space to a whole nother level.
100%.
So, backing up a bit, tell me about how you started. So you said you started on YouTube, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So where did you go from there?
I started on YouTube, went to Twitch for a little bit, um, and started multi-streaming from Twitch to YouTube. Then, as new platforms came out, I gave them all a shot.
Okay.
So Glimish, which is no longer a thing, Mixer, which is no longer a thing, um, Kick, I gave Kick a shot.
And soon that'll no
Um,
longer be a thing.
Soon that'll no longer be a thing, most likely.
I have to read that.
Um, and the only one I haven't given a shot is SharePlay. I have an account, but that's the only one that I haven't done anything on. And basically, I like to keep up to date with things because I love seeing other platforms come out and give creators other options. But LiveSpace, I think what sold me on LiveSpace, and I've told Todd this when I was in my boosted call with him, was the social feed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what sold me on it, was the fact that I'm already making shorts. I'm already doing all this crap already. I have a way of promoting myself and marketing myself while I'm not live on the same platform that I stream on. So it's not extra work because I'm already doing clips for YouTube and TikTok anyway. So
Right.
it's not really extra work, really. The only work I do is obviously networking with other streamers and doing a show every week. I don't see it as work because I enjoy it. So I don't really see it as it's tedious, yes, at times, but I as long as I'm enjoying it, then why does it matter, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 100%. Okay. So other than LiveSpace, which would you say would be your if LiveSpace shuts down its doors tomorrow? Where are you heading
Yep.
back to?
YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTube's where I've started. That's where it's going. I might not do because YouTube is more of a VOD platform. It's not really live stream. Well, I mean, you can live stream on there, but it's not.
It's a lot harder.
It's not
to
the
get.
greatest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd probably just go what I'm doing right now, recording the matches, and I wouldn't live stream at all. I would just record stuff. And it would be the same. So my content wouldn't necessarily change if live space disappeared. it'd still be the same, you know. Um, but I also, you know, I'm a music producer as well, so I'm working on an album, I'm working on a book too, and you know, I'm also a photographer, so going to events and taking pictures, and you know, going to Paris concerts, taking photos of Lynn and Alex and or Lynn and Brian and the drummer Denny and everybody else. But other than that, my content probably wouldn't change much if LiveSpace decided to just go and be gone.
Wow. So you got your hands on quite a bit of projects then. Okay.
Oh yeah, 100%. I always keep myself busy because if you keep myself busy, the depressive thoughts can't get in.
Okay.
You know, and that's the way I see it.
Okay.
If I keep myself busy, then whatever bad thoughts that are going through my head, they don't exist. They're drowned out. But if I'm not doing something, if I'm literally just sitting here, like the difference is I'm sitting here talking to you guys, but if I'm laying in bed at night and it's 1 o'clock in the morning,
Mm.
I'm laying in bed, thoughts are
Mhm.
just running through, and they're not nice. You know, but I'll put my headphone.
Depression is a big struggle, I take it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Now is
Okay.
that tied to
It's
your dis?
been Oh, it's tied to that. Yeah, it's tied to that. I was in an abusive relationship at 14.
Oh.
Um, and I went through that for a year, and obviously I told you guys about that. And
Mhm.
but then when I met Lindsay from Paris, it all changed.
So how did you guys meet?
Um,
Because you've told us a little bit about it, but yeah, let's jump into that a little bit more.
um, so I remember the exact day that I discovered Paris. I was reading a magazine. It was Rock Sound. It was a magazine, and it still does exist. It's a UK like rock magazine with pop music and pop rock and all that other stuff. My grandfather, and God bless him, he's had 2 strokes. He's still with us, but he's not the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
But it was July 20th, 2017, and I remember it because that was the day that Chester Bennington lost his life. And he was the lead singer of Linkin Park. That was the day that he unfortunately lost his battle. And so that crushed me.
Mm-hmm.
I was never that wildly affected by a celebrity death, ever. That totally killed me because his music helped me, and now when I listen to it, I don't treat it as the same anymore because it's like all of those things that he sang, he felt that way,
Okay.
Mhm.
and that is just what destroyed me. And I was reading the magazine. I bought it because it had Chrissy Costanza from Against the Current. And she's another band I listen to. I got close with her when they got signed because they're from Poughkeepsie, New York, which is like downstate towards New York City. But she would drive up to upstate New York, my neck of the woods, to record with the rest of the band. And you know, so I followed them before they were signed. Now they're back on the independent era, which means they're not signed to a label anymore. And I watched them like evolve over time, and eventually, her and I became Snapchat friends. Chrissy Costanza and I became Snapchat friends eventually. And but anyways, I was looking at this magazine, and I saw Lindsay. I was like, "Oh, who's this chick?" You know, and I was just like, "Okay." I was just reading it. My grandfather, I kid you not, word for word, he comes over, looks over my shoulder, and he goes, "Damn, she's cute. What band is she in?" And I was like, "I don't know, Pop, but maybe it's worth checking out now. Like, I don't know, maybe." So I ended up coming across I ended up reading about it, and I was just reading like an interview, and she was just talking about the music and everything. Like I didn't even know that she was gay, which she is. She's openly lesbian. I didn't know that she was. But I was reading that, and I just thought, wow, this chick's cool. just because of, the fact that she was like, oh, I don't let anybody define me. I don't let anybody, tell me what to do, that kind of thing. And I don't know, it's always been an attractive thing for me, not just in women, but in people when they know who they are and they're unapologetically who they are and they don't give a shit about what anybody else thinks about them, but especially in a woman because the standards that women have to live under, beauty and all this other bullshit like, and she's not your typical feminine woman. Like, she's a tomboy. So, it's she gets judged for that.
Yeah.
And
So you like the
yeah,
self-confidence.
oh yeah.
Okay.
I digged her self-confidence. I was like, yeah, this chick's cool. But when I heard the song Let Them In off of their record White Noise, and I credit this record for saving my life. This is why I'm sitting here. This is 100% why I'm sitting here. Um, there was a song Let Them In, and it was I remember the chorus. It was, I want to feel something that's not the weight of your world in my head. And all the walls are caving in, and I feel you entering. I shouldn't give in, but I let you win. I let you in. And it was kind of like, and I was listening to that, and I had my Bluetooth speaker on, jamming in the shower because I was loving this. But then something just came over me, and I sat down as the water was raining down on me, and I just cried. I was crying. Because I was crying not only because Chester died that day,
Mm-hmm.
but I was thinking to myself, damn, this is tough. And, because oftentimes I won't show emotion in front of people. It's not that I view myself as weak because I'm a man, but I'd be lying to myself if men aren't treated differently because of things like that.
100%.
And I told myself, I was thinking to myself, this girl is hurting. She's hurting, and I could feel it. She's hurting. And at this point, this album was 2 to 3 years old. At this point, and I was like, I have to help her. I have to do something. And I thought to myself, I have to, because I'm not gonna let somebody else die because of how they feel, in their head. And lo and behold, not even 2 to 3 months later, I met her after that.
So how did
Oh
that
wow.
happen?
That it was pure luck, honestly. I was in college, and my buddy was like, "Hey, you know that band you like, Paris?" And he's like, and I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "They're coming around." I said, "No, no, no." I said, "You're pulling my leg. Come on, like no." And he was like, "No, no, dude, they're coming around." Lo and behold, they had a festival. It was called Harvest Fest. They never did it again, which sucked because I liked it. And they were one of the bands that was coming there. And I told my buddy, "Hey man, if you want to go, I'll pay $100. I'll pay $100 for the tickets and we'll go. So if you want to, let's go." And he's like, "All right, we'll go." And so we drove 2 hours to the show. We stayed overnight in a hotel. But when we got there, what I didn't know was that the bands were going to come out and you got to meet them. I didn't know that until I got there. Because the guy handed me a piece of paper and I looked at him and I'm like, "What the hell is this for?" And he goes, "The bands are going to come down and meet people." And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "You're pulling my leg right now, right?" I'm gonna meet Lynn. Like, no, this can't happen right now. I'm not ready for this. No, like, and I'm looking at my buddy, and I'm like, "Do I look okay? Do I look okay?" Like, and I made a bet with him while we were in the car,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, I bet you $10. I'll get Lynn to love me in 10 minutes. I bet you $10. And he was like, dude, you know she's gay, right? I said, yeah. So? What's the big deal? Like, yeah, so what? And he goes, yeah, she doesn't like guys, man. I said, yeah, I'm aware of that. But listen to me. This isn't about that. This is about thanking her for saving my life, okay? This woman is the reason why you still have a best friend today. So, and I ended up meeting them after the show, but it's what occurred during the show that shocked me. I was in my wheelchair, and this wheelchair is way too small for me, and this lady behind me, she had to be like in her 40s, maybe. Probably, I had to guess, probably in her 40s. And she was trying to live her college days again. I don't know, I don't know what it was. She was trying to live college days again, wasted out of her mind. And this is the most uncomfortable I ever felt in any situation. And she just started like massaging my shoulders, like randomly. And I'm just like, I'm like, the hell, why? I'm thinking in my head, I'm 18 years old at this time, okay? Like, I'm 18. So, like, I'm just thinking in my head, like, what the hell are you doing? I don't say anything, cause like, you're just frozen at that point. And I'm just like, the hell is going on here? And so I end up turning around, and I'm looking at the husband, because they're husband and wife, and I'm kind of just looking at him like, you gonna do something? Like, and so I stand up, because I have to get up after long periods of standing, get up, stretch my legs, stand up, and I'm singing, and Paris is on stage, and I'm singing, and Lynn's looking all pretty, standing up there doing her thing, and, you know, she goes to, you know, adjust her, like, little earpiece that's in her ear, before the next song, and she kind of comes over to me, and she's like, are you okay? And I said, yeah, why? I'm good. And Lynn doesn't know my name at this point. Like, she doesn't know my name. She's like, was that chair yours? And I said, yeah. And she's like, you know it's gone, right? And I'm like, what? I turn around, and wheelchair's gone, and I'm thinking, oh, shit. Like, I'm thinking, like...
So the lady stole your wheelchair?
I think she did, yeah.
So hold on, I'm trying to process this in my head, because, like, what? So you had some random lady, and you said she's probably, what, in her 30s?
40s.
40s, okay.
I would say, yeah.
So you got some lady who's having a midlife crisis, husband standing right next to her. Babe, no offense, but I'm gonna have you fucking committed if we're out in public and you decide to start just randomly massaging. I don't care who it is. And I'm not saying you have. I'm saying I'm just like that. What?
Wow.
Like, I've never felt the urge anywhere to just like rub someone's shoulders like that. To me,
I mean,
dude, when I say she was wasted, she was gone, dude.
I've been
like, I'm not talking about woo having fun. I'm talking about like, I can't stand having fun.
Trust me,
like,
I get you. I've been there myself. I've had plenty of times when I was younger where I was throwing up drunk, don't remember most of the shit from that night. Fucking lady, I'm sure get her, to tell you some stories someday. But I have never gone up to anybody. Hold on, let me rephrase this. I've never gone up to anybody that I didn't want to try to sleep with and just start rubbing some chick's shoulders. Like, if I'm rubbing your shoulders and I'm that fucking drunk, all right, there's a point to it. So, like,
he's looking to get in your pants.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
And for anybody who knows me, you've heard my wife say it. I was a fucking horn dog in my younger years. Okay, so
oh my God.
that's.
Yeah.
But then to go from that to, okay, let me rub your shoulders, make you feel better, make you feel good, to, oh, fuck you, I'm going to run off with your chair. And I'm just trying to make the connection in my mind.
I'm going to be honest here. If she was like 20 years old, I wouldn't have cared. Okay?
Except the fact fact that are you age shaming here? Like, let's be real.
No.
No.
Hang on. Let me finish my sentence. Let me finish my sentence. Let me finish my sentence. Let me finish. Okay? If she was like around my age, okay? I wouldn't have cared as much. And I'll tell you why. Because I understand college kids have fun. It's the fact that you're 40 years old, you shouldn't be doing this you shouldn't be.
Whoa.
Like
Okay, so I
it,
am 45, and let me tell you, I can roll with the best of them, drunk or not. And I mean, if you get me the right way, we can have some fun. But Am, I really feel like I was age shamed there because
No.
she's busting your balls.
because she was old. That's not okay. If she was young and dumb and full of cum, we'd be golden.
No. I think you got it. Okay. I know you're just doing this to bust my balls. Like 100%. I know you're just doing this to bust my balls. But no. The reason has nothing to do with I'm just saying that because I expect more from somebody who is at that age. Like you've realized a lot of things. When you're 20, you're young and stupid, right? You're doing stupid things, you know? At some point, that gets out of your system. You don't do it anymore. I would hope so.
Are you sure?
At some point.
I mean, seriously, are you sure? Because I mean,
if you can't figure it, she's having fun at your expense at this point.
Yeah.
No, I get your point though. It's
seriously though.
No, I completely.
No, I'm sorry.
I'll laugh and joking aside because I don't normally get my wife to be this brazen when it comes to busting balls unless it's at my expense. So it's nice to hear her do it to somebody else this time.
Yeah, I will admit.
No, so, but I get it. I understand exactly what you're saying. It's you expect that kind of stuff from a younger generation who's still maturing, not from the stereo. You know, when you think of an older lady, like you. I mean, there are times where I look at a lady, I'm like, damn, how old are you? Aren't you supposed to be like 45, you know?
And I act like I'm too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, she'll talk to me like she's...
That's what I mean, exactly.
Yeah,
like, I would expect that a lot from a younger generation.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't expect that, you know, from somebody who's married and her husband standing right there watching this happen.
I could see her rubbing your shoulders and then rubbing her husband's dick at the same time. No, that's a grown woman.
And here I just
No, she was not doing that. Nope.
Well, for all y'all listening, I literally just tried to defend my wife saying she wasn't being dirty, and then here we go. So, my bad. It doesn't take long. You know, I give her credit. It only took her an hour. Before,
yeah.
Yeah, it took an hour, but we finally got there.
But I'm sorry. Like I think of myself as being 40, as being like in my 40s, as being young, and I guess it's so weird.
You do?
When lead. What the fuck? Yeah. I am not a grandpa like you over there who crackles and can hardly get his ass out of bed because
That's
he's
funny.
old.
That's hilarious.
Wow. Okay. So.
Well, yeah, 40 is young. It is. It still is. But when you compare, like, if you look back on, probably 20 years from now, I'll probably be like, what was I doing at 25?
No, I will admit it. Like, when I was 19, 40 was ancient.
I mean,
well, yeah.
So, like, I get what you're saying. Like,
age is a matter of perception.
Concept.
Age is a matter of perception because if I'm gonna go back to what I was doing when I was 25, I only gotta go. Hey, what was I doing 10 years ago? Ladies gotta go back 20 years. So I mean, it's a matter of perception. So, what is that? Not 20 years ago for you?
What? 19?
25.
25. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, and it was just weird to me watching the husband just stand there, and I think that was the most uncomfortable part of it. Was you're watching your wife do this to a person that you don't even know, and it is weird, and I'm very uncomfortable. And I actually got up from my chair because of that, and she sat in it. I saw her get up and sit in it because she was so drunk she couldn't.
I'm gonna guarantee you that's why she did it.
Yeah.
That's a play my 70-year-old mama would make.
I highly doubt your mother is going to rub
My
some.
mother was a whore in her days. You are so wrong on every level.
But no, it's like, and I'm not that good looking. I mean, come on. Like,
Okay,
I'm
wait a
not-
minute. I disagree. I think you're selling yourself short there. 100%.
I mean, I'm not Keanu Reeves here, but
Who said he's good looking?
well, he is. I'm not gonna. I'm not
he's
gay,
right.
but he's
all right. No,
I don't know.
that is not my cup of tea on a daily. Nope.
I like him as he gets a little bit. He aged very well.
Yeah, he did.
So
He did.
No. You know who aged well is
here it comes.
Tony Stark. I can't think of his name.
Robert Downey Jr.
Thank you. He aged well. Now, when you see him when he was younger, ugly as fuck. When you see him now,
Well, he was also
fuck.
on Dope too. So.
Holy fuck, Daddy, take me home.
Oh boy.
Like,
All right. Keep it in your pants. It's okay.
Yeah. Thank God she's sitting down. You'd see the tent she's pitching right now.
Yeah,
shut the fuck up over there.
It was weird, but Lynn helped me. She got it back, and she let that lady have it.
Oh wow.
Like,
That doesn't surprise me at all.
and it's funny because 3 years down the line when we met each other again, for a third time,
Mm-hmm.
I asked her about that, and she didn't remember. And I was like, "You don't remember doing that?" Like, that happened. And after she let that lady have it and basically cussed her out and and she's the type of person to do that. She came over to me. She's like, "You good?" And I'm like, "Why? Why did you do that? Like, I don't want you to do this. This is gonna sound awful, okay? This is not how it's supposed to sound, but it's gonna come out awful. I don't want people dealing with my problem. I don't.
You're a guy.
Like, I know I'm a dude. I know I'm a dude.
No, but I'm saying that's a guy mentality. Women want to fix things just like guys want to fix things. So when
Right.
y'all are going through something and you're like, no, I got it, our job is to well, we're going to go behind your back and fix it anyway because we're
Right.
going to do it 100 times better than you are. And I
Yeah.
guarantee you we fuck it up each time.
Yep.
Sorry, ladies, I'm owning it for us.
Yeah, right. All right. Yeah. Fair enough point. Yeah.
So
like, and
you've known Lynn for you guys went a whole
7 years.
7 years now. Okay.
Wow. Okay,
So
7 years.
and you communicate regularly.
We try to.
Okay.
She's not a social media person, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I hate social media.
So do you guys only see each other, do you guys only communicate when you guys are together? Like when she hits you up and says, hey, I'm going to be out in your area?
This is going to sound kind of weird, but I'm always, because she has a personal page for her Instagram, and then she has, pages for the band. And she does all the marketing, all the merch, everything. They don't have a manager that promotes them or whatever. So she has, and she got rid of her personal Twitter. She got rid of it. I don't blame her. I hate Twitter. But the only time that we ever communicate is when she is doing an Instagram live stream, or she's doing something live on the band's Instagram. But usually she'll go live on her own Instagram. And we communicated a lot during the pandemic because obviously nobody was doing shit. And has 2 autoimmune diseases. So she's got Crohn's and she's got something else. it's arthritis in her spine. It's
Okay.
kind of similar to what I have with my back,
Mm-hmm.
due to my disability. So we kind of bonded off of that. And so we've communicated through social media. There was a time where she's she's always replying to me all the time on lives on Instagram, because she knows who I am, because I gave her my Twitter that October 14th, 2017. I gave her my Twitter.
Wow.
I gave.
You know the day.
Oh, of course. How can you forget the day that you meet the person that saved your life? You don't. Like, you just don't.
Hmm.
And you know that's and I told when I walked up, and I act all confident. You'll hear me joke and say, "Oh yeah, I get all the bitches, whatever." Like, you'll hear me say that, like, as like a joke. But I am terrified. Like, in my mind. In my mind, I'm terrified, because my mind's like, "You're gonna screw this up. You better not screw it up." Like, you know,
Why do
uh,
they all do that to themselves?
like,
Like, no, seriously. Like, do you have a philosophy behind this?
why do I do
Because
that?
we're thinking the same thing.
Oh, I know. I know that. But it's different for me. And I say it's different for me because I've had women, and I know that Lynn is not like this at all. I know that she's not like this. And I wasn't thinking that she was going to be like this. It was my
Hmm.
own head screwing with me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But um I've had women use me as like a charity case. They
Okay.
they see me as, like, I remember seeing this quote on Twitter that pretty much sums up what I'm gonna say, and that's, "Don't help me if you have to tell people that you helped me.
Yeah.
Don't help me at all if you have to tell people that you did just to make yourself look good." Like, I'm not. It's like when people do those things and then they film it for the sake of views and saying, "Look at me, I'm a good person." Okay, would you do that without a camera?
Right. Basically, they were
Like,
using you for clout to make them, to make a name for
it,
themselves.
exactly. And it's like these are regular everyday people. These aren't celebrities that are doing the thing. Like, they just want to look good. And so in my head, I'm thinking, "Oh crap." Like, for one, I think Lynn is insanely attractive. I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and deny that. Um, and it has nothing to do with her looks whatsoever. Nothing.
It's all
Like,
her personality.
oh, 100%, 100%,
Interesting.
100%. I mean, she's got very beautiful eyes, and that's probably it, and a beautiful smile. But those are the two things I noticed right away. But the one thing you'll notice when you meet her is she never takes her eyes off of you. She's always paying attention to you. She's always looking at you right in your eyes all the time when she's telling you something. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she actually is attentive to what you're saying. She's acting like, she's not just saying, "Yeah, uh-huh." Like, she's nodding her head, like, kind of like, how, like, people nod their head, they act like they're listening,
But
really
they're
not
not.
listening.
Hmm.
Yeah, like,
Married to
she's,
lead. I know exactly what that's like.
Yeah, you
dude, you're
did.
And,
just
and
getting
he's
annihilated today.
married and he's married to me, so he knows exactly what that's like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
because we do it to each other.
that's the way Lynn is. And so when I rolled up in my chair to meet her, I was nervous, very very nervous. I said hello to Alex, who was the guitarist of the band at the time. He's not anymore. It's just Lynn and Brian now. But they um, and I could not think of anything to say, and it had nothing to do with her being a celebrity. Nothing to do. Like, everybody's like, "Oh, you were just starstruck." I said, "No, I was not. I was not, and I wasn't crushing either. I was terrified, because what do you say to a person that saved you from yourself? That saved you, that gave you a reason to live?" I There was a point where I didn't want to live. There was a
Mm-hmm.
point where I thought, this is going to take me. Like, depression's going to take me. It's going to kill me. And the only reason, and the only reason why I'm still sitting here is because of what she did. Like if she didn't do that, if I didn't listen to that song in the shower that day, I don't know what would have happened. I probably wouldn't have gotten therapy. I probably wouldn't have gotten. I probably would have just sat in my room and cried my eyes out like I've always done. You know, or usually when I'm depressed, I'm angry. I'm not sad. I get angry. I get really angry. And I lash out at people. I lash out at grandma. I lash out at my mom. All those kinds of things.
Which is interesting because not to stereotype you at all, but you know you see that a lot in TV shows and movies, and you never realize how real that actually could be. You always think, oh, it's just a TV show, it's just a movie, but to hear that actually kind of puts it in perspective that it really does, you know, it's really an issue.
Yeah, it is. It's nuts, man, and you know, I even though I had like 5 minutes from the first time we met, you know, I told my buddy Sam because he was in line with me, and this is how I know he's a true friend, and he's still my friend to this day. He stood in line. He wasn't even a fan of Paris. He stood in line because he knew how much I wanted to meet. I had to go take a piss, and he knew how much I wanted to. So he stood in line for me for that, and I told him, I said, let's mess with them, let's make them laugh. I said, let's make Lynn laugh. I said, come on, let's do it. And he's like, why? And I said, because I know she's hurting. I know she is. She's going to act like she's not. She's like me. She's going to put a smile on that face and act like she's not hurting, but I know damn well she is hurt. Like, I know damn well she is. I can just tell. She's an empath, just like me. She's able to tell those things. Then, so I told my buddy, I said, give me a piece of paper. Give me a piece of paper. And I wrote my Twitter name on the front of it, and I flipped on the back of it, and I wrote You and I on the back of it. And You and I is one of the songs off of the White Noise record. It's the song that I have the clip of Lynn singing, and she's coming over to my side of the stage, and she smiled right in my camera. So that's the song that, and she always kept looking at me throughout that song, because it's like we were singing it back to each other. And the story behind that song is her being in love with somebody, but feeling inadequate, feeling like she's undeserving of that person. And so I felt to myself, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve Lindsay. I don't. Like, and it was my own head, like, screwing with me, trying to tell me I don't deserve anything. And, you know, and we couldn't take a picture. They wouldn't allow you to, which sucked. It was terrible. But I got her autograph, and I gave her the piece of paper, and, you know, she's like, what's this for? And I said, hey, if you ever need anything, She's like, what do you mean? I said, I know what you're feeling right now. I know you're lying to me. You're telling me that you're good, but I can tell that you're not. If you ever need somebody, I don't care if it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m., I don't care. Message me. Because I've been through exactly what you're going through right now. And I said, hey, it's like the song, You and I, remember? Against our minds, and we're going to win this together. I'm not. And that's when I asked her, I said, will you fight with me? Will you fight demons with me? Will you fight? And she's like, yes, I will. And she shook my hand. And, you know, that's when, you know, fast forward a couple months later, we met in 2018. And that's when I spent $200 on an Uber to go see her. And I only did that to go see her because I promised her that we would get a picture. And then 2020 we met during the pandemic, and 2020 was my favorite meet and greet because she that was when I told her about my ex-girlfriend, the one who abused me and hated me, and she was the first person that knew about that. She was the first person that I ever told, and I kept that a secret from 2014 to 2020. I kept that a secret. Nobody knew about it. But she was the first person that knew. She was the first person that knew about it because she has a song called Loveless, which is about an abusive partner. And it's about somebody who abused her. So she knew exactly, and she's gay. So she's dating women. So she knew exactly what I went through. And and she was telling me, she's like, "Hey, I might be gay, but if you need somebody to talk to, you can talk to me." And she's like, "Take my love instead, please." She just kept begging me to accept her love, to make me realize that I'm worth being around. That and and there was one time I made a joke. I said, "Lynn, you gotta stop dropping music out of nowhere. Like, she won't announce shit. She'll just drop music out of nowhere and be like, 'Oh, by the way, I'm dropping this.'" And it's like, Lindsay, that's not cool. And I gave her the nickname Nurse Lindsay. I gave her that nickname. And the reason why I gave her that nickname is because she knew how many surgeries I had. In that 15 minutes that we had, she knew my entire life story in 15 minutes.
Wow.
I gave it to
Wow.
her. Like, and I told her, I said, "Listen, I've told you things that my mother has no idea. I've told her things that my friends don't know. I've told her things my grandmother doesn't know, and my grandmother to every day. So she knows things. And the one thing that I love is that she's able to pick up when I'm lying. Like,
Okay.
she can pick that up. Like,
See, I struggle because I know you're telling me that she's gay, but I think in your
she is.
own way, you all have a relationship, whether it's friendship, whatever.
Yeah.
That is what your partner should be. Everything
Oh,
that she is for
100%.
you is what your partner should be. Because if you sit back and you think about it, like, when you guys talk, like, you guys may not see each other every day or talk every day, but
No.
it's like when you pick up, it's never stopped. It's like it just continues.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like, we've talked about that, and I told her, I said, "This is weird." She's like, "What's weird?" And I said, "The fact that we talk to each other like this, like, people are gonna think this is freaking weird." And I've told her that what my family thinks. I told her what my friends think.
Hmm.
And she's like, "Well, I hope your mother likes me." And I'm like, I started
I
laughing, and
I
I
think
was like, "Are
you
you
guys have
serious
the
right now?"
perfect. You guys have the perfect marriage without the sex.
Hmm. And even my friend,
Honestly.
raised the hypothetical question. He goes, "If you and Lynn knew each other longer than 7 years, and she wasn't famous, and she wasn't gay, would you?" And he's like, "Would you ask her out? Would you have the courage to do it?" And I said, "No." And I said, "You want to know why? Because I'm not. What we got, you can't put a label to it. You can't. You can't. Like, you I don't like the word. I mean, I understand why the words husband, wife, girlfriend, partner exist. I understand why those exist. But I'm a person that the relationship that I have with Lynn, regardless of what it is, the reason why there is no label for it is because you can't label it. You can't. And for her to, she messaged me last year at 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay. She messaged me at 1 o'clock in the morning last year to dedicate an album to me, to dedicate the entire record that she spent 2 years on
Wow.
to me.
See?
And I told her, I said, "No, don't do that. Like, what are you doing?" Like, and this was before we met in September. And I remember, like, right after we first met in 2017, it was a little bit after she did an article for Playboy. And I was like, at first I was shocked because Lindsay doesn't seem like that type of person to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, before anybody thinks I'm shaming her, but I'm not. I'm saying it takes a lot of confidence to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it does.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and I read the article. It was mostly her talking about gender norms, and she refers to herself as a genderless elf a lot. She says, she's like, I know I'm a woman and I identify as a woman, but I do things that aren't considered what women should be. And
But who defines what a woman is?
and well, that's exactly what I told her. I said, I said, Lindsay, who cares? You're you. That's. I told her. I said, listen, you could stop making music. I wouldn't want you to stop, but you could stop making music. But it's not the music that I fell in love with.
Mm-hmm.
It was the person behind it. Like anybody can, like, music is a beautiful thing, but she's the one that wrote it. Like, you know, she doesn't have some ghostwriter or anything like that like most do. She's the one that wrote it. And you know, I remember joking around with her the one time and saying, I said, you're going to give me a heart attack. You're going to kill me. One of these days you're going to kill me because about the amount of teasers that you release and the amount of shit that you just drop out of nowhere. You know, and she's like, and I don't know what prompted her to say that, but she knew I was joking, but she said, "Oh no." She's like, "Don't die. Please. Let me give you life. Let me give you love and everything that you need." And I froze for a minute and I was like, "Listen, you know I'm joking, right? Like you don't have to get all sentimental on me. Like I'm kidding. Relax." Like, and she's like, "I know that you're joking, but I'm not." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Listen, you've been through enough." She's like, you had a girl you've had two women mistreat you. You've had so many people mistreat you. And she's like, "I'm gay, okay? So I get it. I understand what it's like to be judged for who you are." She's like, "I'm not going to sit here and say I understand what you've been through because I don't. But," she's like, "I didn't make a promise to just be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
I made a promise to your mother without seeing her."
You guys might as
And I
well
said,
just call yourselves a couple at this point because it really sounds like y'all are, you know, like what Lady said. I mean, I'm not trying to like be rude or when I say that. I'm just saying it's like you guys clearly
They're
have.
married without the sex.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'd like to think so, but I just don't like putting a label to it.
No, and I get that, and you know, to your point when you were saying that, you know, people do that. I think we as humans we have a hard time understanding something without putting, you know, we have to label it.
A label, yeah.
To understand it. How do you? Because we've talked like everything that we've covered in some way, shape, or form. You've mentioned that it's like a mask, or you use it as a way to deal with mental health. How do you find the strength to deal with your mental health? Because you say that you have to stay busy in order to keep those thoughts at bay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean to shift it from there, but it's listening to the way that you talk with Lynn, how you've explained that you need to keep busy in order to keep those thoughts at bay. Like there seems to be a very central theme in all of it as far as your mental health goes. How do you find the strength to deal with it? What do you like, is there any one thing like because you can't fill up every second of your day. You've already made it clear. Something
No.
whether it's you're laying down in bed at night and you're trying to sleep, or you know something. There's always going to be a point in time where there's going to be even if it's a 10-second lull in your day. And you said those thoughts creep in. How do you deal with that?
I honestly, my religious faith.
Okay.
I am a Christian. I grew up a Christian, and um, my grandmother would always tell me stories about how it was seeing you and being with me throughout all 12 surgeries that I've had.
Mm.
And and I thought to myself, like, because there was a point, like I said in 2017, when I discovered Lindsay and her music, that I lost my faith in God. I thought
Mm.
to myself, if God is so great, why does he let this kind of shit happen?
Mm.
And, I started to develop what some people would call the victim mentality. And
Okay.
I had to get out of that mentality. And I had to, not allow myself to be in that sort of mindset, if you will. And so I just strengthened, my religious faith. And I got into a position where, I just pray. There's sometimes where I'll pray before I go to bed, and because that's what I did up until the point that I discovered Lindsay. I prayed in that shower when I was crying.
Mm.
I prayed to God and I said, please send me something. And what's funny is, now that I think about it, the song "Use Me" by Paris, the opening line is one. The opening part of the song is, "There's something about you. It's not that I doubt you. Angels circle around you because you shouldn't be on your own. I know that you need it. I think you should leave with me because you got me believing that you shouldn't be all alone." And I instantly think, I was like, there's no way that Lynn didn't write that and wasn't thinking. I sometimes think that she takes our conversations and puts them into music. There's no way that, there's so much of a there's way too much coincidences. Honestly.
Mm.
Like, 2017, I end up crying in the shower, to 2 to 3 months later meeting her, 2 to 3. That's just that's not, no, that's, again, with the whole religious thing, that's gotta be, if there is a God, then he must be listening to me.
Right.
like for real, if there is one, he damn sure is listening.
Mm.
I'll give him that. But that's really what I use to get through life. Is, I know that not every second of every day that we can play games or do whatever it is to distract ourselves. But I do know that if God wanted me to die, he would have taken me. And he didn't. Because I did die. I was legally dead for a few minutes. And if he wanted me to stay dead, he would have taken me. But he didn't. So I'm
Right.
here for a reason, right? I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm alive. Can't kill me yet. That's. And so that's how I get through it. Is, I always remember that when you're alone, look to faith, or look to something that, maybe you can't necessarily see or can't physically do.
Okay.
Whatever it is, whether you believe in religion, you have, you can't. I can't physically see Lindsay, but I can hear her.
It's
I
fair.
can't. I can't. And that's exactly what she said. She's like, if you ever need me, just turn on music,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm there again. And that's the one thing that's always remained stagnant. And I don't put her on this pedestal because I know that she's a human being. I know that she's not perfect, and she's admitted that she's not, and I've admitted that I'm not. But she didn't have to do any of that shit.
Right.
She chose to do
Mhm.
that. She chose to do it. And I even ask her why.
Mm.
like, I tell her, I'm one dude. out of the millions of people that love you. Like, and that's it. And she's like, yeah, but you always ask the same questions. How am I doing? How am I doing? Because you're a human. You probably get tired of being asked about the music all the time.
Yeah.
Like, she's a human being. Like, like, ask her how she's doing. Ask her what's up with her mom or something or whatever, you know? Like, I know that's a little personal, but it's probably better than hearing, hey, what's it like to be a gay front woman all the time? Like, that's got to get annoying because people ask her that all the time. And, you know, that's what people ask me all the time. They're like, how do you get out of bed every morning being disabled? And I've had people tell me, well, if I had to deal with what you deal with, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm like, thanks. That's very comforting. Thank you. That's very comforting for you to say that. Like, thank you very much. Like, yeah. It's like what I said to you the other time with people being all about asking me about, can you procreate? Can you? The stuff that comes out of people's mouths never ceases to amaze me.
People are ignorant.
Yep. That'll never change.
Yeah. So, has Lynn ever come to one of your streams?
I wish. If she did, I would drop. I would be like, I'm sorry, guys, I gotta go.
Throw off your whole focus, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I would have to probably hear her or see her for that to happen.
Okay.
I know she knows that I do this. I think she's actually subbed to my YouTube, I think.
Okay.
So she knows that I do stuff. I've wrote songs for her and I to do. Because she told me, she's like, you have to be a writer. She's like, you have to. And I said, why? And she's like, because I can tell by the way that you talk that you should be.
Well, yeah, because listening to you, just the way you've talked about how you do your content, just when it comes to streaming, how you've put your energy into your relationship with Lynn, just in how you've tackled things in general, you put a lot of passion and yourself into it. So, in order to write something, you have to believe in it, you know, and you have to. And I'm assuming she's talking about she's saying you should be a writer when it comes to music, right?
Well, just anything, I think.
Okay.
You know, she was like just anything. She's like, you should write, you know, and again, then she asked if I did music, and I said, yeah, but I quit. And she's like, why'd you quit? And I said, my ex made me do it. And she's like, she made you do all those things? And I said, you don't understand. That's Satan. like I said, you don't understand. She's the definition of Satan. You know, and that's she hated everything that I did. So to stay safe, I don't know what she was gonna do with me. I don't know if she was gonna hit me or do anything. So I did whatever she told me to do, and if that meant quitting my passions and giving my full attention. And the funny thing is, that wasn't even enough either. Nothing I ever did was. And so, you know, I basically said, that's it. When I got out of that, I was like, that's it. You're not going to date until you find somebody that's worth it. Until somebody proves to you that they are worth your time, you're not going to do it. And it's the best decision I've ever made, because out of sight, out of mind, it just gets me stressed out. And that's why a lot of my friends, they come to me for relationship advice. They come to me like I'm basically my friend's marriage counselor. Like, you know, I've had married people come to me and talk to me about what's going on with their wives or something. And it's like, first I'm thinking in my head, like, shouldn't you be talking to a professional about this and not me? Like, shouldn't you be hiring a marriage counselor, talking with your wife about this, not me? But I feel honored that they feel that comfortable to share those things. And it's the same thing with Lindsay. Like, I know things about Lindsay that she probably hasn't told anybody. And that's because she's told me those things. And, you know, like, it's Like she told me the first time she ever was in love with somebody. And you know, and this was before she was out of the closet. And you know, all of that. And you know, I love to have that sense of comfortability with my viewers.
Mhm.
And that's why I have the stories that I have, the stories that are very, very real. Because if somebody's watching and they're feeling like shit or whatever it is that they're feeling, and especially if they're a guy and they're feeling like that, it's like it I want them to know that it's okay. It's fine to talk about those things.
Mhm.
You're not a wuss if you feel something. You're a guy. You have feelings too. Like that's and that's why I do a charity stream every year in October for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I do No Shave November where I don't shave my beard, or I shave my beard off and then I grow it. You know, because all those are men's health things.
Right.
And I do that. I would consider myself an advocate because I don't want to have somebody like I don't want to have an incident like Chester happen again.
Okay.
If I can prevent that, then I will. And that's why my DMs are always open. That's why I've always said DMs are always open for anybody. And I know that there's a concept called trauma dumping, and it's a concept that a lot of streamers and a lot of creators don't like. And in case anybody's not familiar with that, it basically means that you're essentially a viewer is coming in and being a Debbie. Essentially, they're coming in, and I get it. Sometimes we have a shitty day. Sometimes I have a shitty day.
But it's a matter
But-
of if that's all you're coming in to talk about day in and
Right.
day out.
Right, yeah. That's pretty much what it is. If that's all you're coming in every day, day in and day out, like it kind of craps down the stream. So that's why I always say my DMs are always open. If you want to talk about that, I'm no therapist. I'm no licensed therapist. But if you need an ear to listen, damn right, I'll be there. Ask Lindsay.
Yeah, but there's a point in being there to listen all the time, and like that takes a toll on your mental health after a
Oh,
while.
100%.
So you
Yeah.
have to be aware of how often you let people trauma dump on you, because when people do that, I know that they're trying to do it out of a place of I need help or I just want somebody to talk to, and you may be comfortable, but it's not okay. Like, it takes a toll. Like,
I would disagree with you to an extent. Some people just do it because they want attention, so they feel like that's the only way that they're going to, like,
I do get that
Right.
too.
you know. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of the person.
Which I do agree with both of your points, honestly.
Like I get what Lady's saying. I just don't agree with the amount. I think it's a pretty even split. You know, and it puts the people who need help and they're trying to figure it out. Like, and it's because it's like you said, some guys are. You know, well, guys and men in general are trained to or conditioned to say I can't talk about my shit. So sometimes they find that streaming, because video games streaming, that's a big staple of this day. But then there are the ones that whether it's men or women, they just want the attention. So if they figure that an easy way to spark a conversation is to talk about a shitty experience. So that's just what they, that's how that's a go-to to instant to spark a conversation. It's just let me talk about something shitty, and
because it gets everybody in chat involved, and then everybody's in an uproar, and everybody's either
Well-
on your side or against you, and you're getting what you need, whether it's negative or positive attention.
Yeah, I think it's that where it's like you don't care what attention you're getting, you're just getting it.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with trolls. They don't care. Like they don't care. They're getting you riled up. Like with trolls, it's like and I've dealt with them, 100%.
I was about to ask. So when you stream, do you have your camera on?
Oh no, hell no,
Are you?
hell no.
Do you mind if I ask why?
Well, I used to, back when RCW first started.
Okay.
I think season 5 is when I got it off. I
Okay.
killed it, and I
Did something happen?
no, no, something didn't trigger. I'm gonna be honest here. I've been bullied so much throughout my life that you can't say a damn thing that I haven't heard. Like,
Okay.
And like I'm just gonna be bluntly honest. You can't say a damn thing that I haven't heard before.
Okay.
You know, but me, I feel like my content, my voice tells the story. I don't have to. You don't have to see my face. I've done those Twitter videos. For anybody that has seen some of my Twitter videos recently, yes, I do have a just chatting screen. And yes, that the camera does pop on, but that is more of let's talk serious. Let's sit down. Let's talk serious. And sometimes when I do those videos, I'm weary because I'm kind of like, do I want to do this? Because this is gonna sound stupid, but I've done those videos the past couple days because a lot of people don't think. I think I've done one on mental health. I've done one on accountability. I've done one on people using people in content creation, and all three of those things are things that people don't think about in content creation. Like, I feel like sometimes we can get on autopilot and stream, especially if you have a schedule like me, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Like, I'm a stickler for that. Like, so when I don't stream, something feels off. Like, my entire day is like off because I dedicate 2 to 3 hours to stream. And when I don't do it, there's 2 to 3 hours of like, what the hell am I gonna do?
Right.
Oh, I know, watch TV. Like, like, you know, and that's what it is. But like, I just don't have my camera on because I mean, it depends on if you've watched even some of the shorts that I've posted or some of the clips I've posted on LiveSpace or my stream or whatever. You know how energetic I am. Like, if you've been by my content.
Right.
If my voice doesn't do it for you, my face won't make a difference. That's the way I feel. Like, I get it. Like, for example, Mr. Beast. We all know who that guy is. You know, I can see him, and I know who he is. And people like putting a face to a creator sometimes.
Okay.
And I get that. But Jim Ross, the voice of wrestling for WWE, now AEW, he has Bell's palsy, which is where your face is paralyzed, and he's had 2 strokes, I think 2 or 3 strokes, and so his face is all screwed up. But you don't care about that because
Yeah,
his
I
voice
was actually
is what
thinking
you know
about
him for.
when you first said that, you know, your voice is the driving force behind it. I was thinking about it because you do a lot of wrestling primarily wrestling content. You know, when you're watching wrestling, unless it's an intermission kind of deal, you really don't see
Your commentators.
Yeah, you really don't see them anyway.
Nope.
And it's a very rare that you do, and when you do, it's kind of like a hit or miss. Like, they don't make or break the match or really change how you feel about how the event or the show went for the night. It doesn't change any of that.
Yeah,
No.
It's just extra to add to it, you know, to help hype it up and to help, you know, bear down some of that time when, you know, when you need that little extra action.
100%. Like, there are times where I'll clip stuff, and I hate hearing my voice, but everybody does. Everybody does. I don't care who you are. Everybody does. And we have me and my mod, Young Sin. Shout out to him. If you're listening to this, I love you, buddy. But we have these characters, Bryce Blackwell and Big Nasty Bubba Blackwell, and it's these two characters that are made by my other mod, Sakate. His name is, we call him that because that's his African name, and and Big Nasty is a heel. He's a bad guy. Bryce is a bad guy. So we're like, we hate the Blackwells. And he had this character called the Executive Advisor that he would play on stream, and he would hype up the Blackwells and be like, yeah, that's right, Blackwells are the best. And so my buddy and my other mod and I, we would do fuck the Blackwells. We would do FTB, fuck the Blackwells. And that's something that we would do. And I had Big Nasty when the RCW World Title, and I had him do the big ending, which is Big E's finisher, and I call it nasty ending, and I had him, I scripted it for him to win it, and I kid you not, I didn't script it. I didn't like when I do my commentary, it's live and everything. So I don't know what I was thinking in my head, but if you remember the clip from The Office where Michael Scott says, "No, no, God, please, no, no," like, and so I, as he was pinning the current champion at the time, I'm like, "No, no, God, please, no, no." And I'm like, "Oh my God, Big Nasty's champion." I'm like, I'm never gonna, and I literally say this, I'm never gonna hear the, and I'm just like, all right, we gotta go to commercial. Like, I hate this. I hate this. I hate looking at it. I don't like look, and so I took that clip, and I put that scene from The Office in that clip. and it just flowed well. And like there are some references in there. Like I'll throw in, I guarantee when Lexi Stark debuts, because she likes Britney Spears, I'm just gonna throw in a bunch of Britney Spears references. Like, I guarantee during her entrance, I'm probably gonna say, "Mama, I'm in love with a criminal, and her name is Lexi Stark." I guarantee that's gonna happen at some point. But like everything that you hear on my commentary is completely unfiltered, completely unscripted. And people are like, "How do you know the names of the moves?" I said, "Because I watch wrestling." But it's more than just knowing the names of the moves. You gotta hype the guys up.
Yeah.
Like you gotta get hyped. Like, cause there's some commentary where I'll watch it and I'm like, ugh. And I'm talking about like creators. There's like, cause I'll watch other creators and I'm like, if you're gonna do live commentary, please, for the love of God, turn the in-game commentary off. Because you have 3 voices playing, and then it's yours. Like, please, for the love of God, turn it off. Like either have the in-game commentary do it, but like here, and I'm not trying to criticize anybody. This is just what I've noticed. Like the thing that people need to understand when they're doing commentary is that you can't just know the names of moves. You have to hype them up. You have to know the story, which is why I think it's cool when you create your own characters, because it's your character. It's yours.
Right.
That character can be anything that you want it. And so creating Scarlet Nova and making her my love interest, that was something I was scared to do. Because that would mean that I would have to show vulnerability in Brian Outlaw's character. And they've never said to each other, "I love you." They haven't said that yet. They haven't dropped the L word. I'm waiting for that. That's going to happen. But in a segment that I did, I played as the character, and the character's voice is kind of like this. It's lower. And so that's how I talk as the character. And so I ended up saying the words, "Don't fall for me." Don't. Like, he's essentially telling Scarlet, "Do not fall, because I'm gonna hurt you, and I'm not somebody that's worth loving because of everything that I've gone through." And so it's essentially like him, but she's fighting his 2 sisters, because his 2 sisters are a member of this faction called Rapture, and it's kind of like this religious cult thing. And so she's trying to help bring his family back together, and she won't take no for an answer. Like, she's like, "I don't care." She's basically saying, "I don't care if you love me or not. I'm going to do this because you're dying inside, and I know you are. And I don't care if you love me or not, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop fighting for you."
Right.
And so, that's kind of the story that I'm going to pursue in 2K24, because that's a story that was continuing off from season 15. So, but yeah, my voice tells the story, and the promos tell the story. I mean, I'm the one that does the promos for the characters. Like Scarlet Nova, she's got a voice that I use in that makes it sound like a woman's voice, and it sounds pretty damn good. That's me talking, but it's just changed. The voice itself is just changed, and I don't script any of it. So when I have to get into character for the scene, I have to think, okay, how would Scarlett respond to this, or how would this character respond, and it's a whole convoluted thing. But that's why I like doing the creative stream, so that my viewers can kind of get that.
Now, do you do it?
Process.
So you have a male and female. Do you use a voice mod or anything for that, or how do you do that?
There's I use multiple programs, so I use voice mod for this one voice, and it's kind of like this creepy voice, and it's this like demonic voice for Fear, Hades, and Shadow. I love those dudes. And I use a program called Voice AI. And it literally just takes your microphone that you have, your GPU that you have, and it takes whatever you say in real time and changes it. And you can use it, and it's like a easy as flipping setting in your microphone that says Voice AI. You flip it in Audacity or in OBS, and you're just able to use it. I have a tutorial on my channel that teaches people how to use it, and I do these tutorials because in case somebody wants to know what I do, they can watch it, even if they're not a creator themselves. They get an idea of how the process is.
Okay.
And if they're a creator themselves, well, they can use it too. And usually it's free. You have to pay for the voices. There's like credits or something like that. I've paid for the voices. They're like $10 or $20, like for like a certain amount of credits, and then you can easily get like 3 or 4 voices. And then not every character has a voice because that would take forever, but just the ones that I want them to have voices. And the voice I selected for Scarlett's very, very cute, so it works out. It works out well.
Well, that's cool. It's just, sorry, I get wrapped up listening to it because, like we said, you put so much of yourself into, just everything, just the passion, the energy. You invest so much into it. Like, it's just, I could sit here and listen to you talk all about it. It's just crazy to think everything that you've been through along the way, everything that you're doing. How did you hear about Live Space? Start fast forwarding to more of the present here.
Okay, so Live Space. Actually, my buddy Deceptus, shout out to him. He tried it out when it was a closed beta, when people were getting invited to try out the platform. And he was like, oh, I like this platform. I like it. And a little bit, I don't know when exactly it opened up to everybody, but a little bit after it opened up to everybody, I was like, to hell with it. I'm going to give it a shot.
Okay.
I was on Kick before, and I know that you had Ramrod Jenkins on, and you guys were talking about the controversies surrounding all that, and how Kick is just like just going downhill, and it just keeps on going downhill for whatever reason. It keeps on going downhill. And so I thought to myself, okay, I don't like what Twitch is doing to creators, because it seems like with Twitch and Kick, they take one step forward, but 4 steps back.
I can see that.
And like, they give something that creators want, but then they do like 4 different things where you're scratching your head like, why? And obviously I have my opinions on, the hot tub streams, and that was a big part of it too. Because I believe that if OnlyFans is what you want to do it. But do it on OnlyFans.
Yep.
If that's the type of content that you're doing, sweetheart, make that bag, go ahead and do it. God gave you those looks, go ahead and use them. Like, that's my thing. But in my opinion, like, that risque, borderline sexualized content that's on Kick or Twitch or whatever, and you can tell which ones are clearly that and which ones aren't, just by looking at it. And so, for me, like, I thought that's not something I want to be a part of. That's not something I want, my community to be exposed to. Because I thought, would I want my kids watching that?
Right.
And I feel like part of it is the fact that they promote that stuff. And I've seen things get promoted that, just it doesn't align with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, I'm not going to have my viewers donate money to me, whether it be subs or especially subs. I don't care that 95% of it goes to me. A percentage of it still goes to Kick or whatever, or however much percentage from Twitch. Like, I don't want them financially supporting me, knowing that the platform lets stuff like this happen.
Right.
And the inconsistency of moderation on a platform and all that stuff, kind of just led me to LiveSpace. And then seeing what LiveSpace has to offer for creators. And, I actually, and this is going to sound like awful, but in my time of content creation, this is the most where I've actually given a crap. And I know that's going to sound kind of contradictory because of the fact that, obviously I put a lot of detail into my content, all wrestling, all that kind of stuff. But what I mean by that is I can do a YouTube short and put it on LiveSpace. I can do I can do everything in one platform. And that's what really intrigued me about LiveSpace. And, after speaking with Todd and Spencer and them like actually knowing what's going on. Like, they're not guys that are just dreamers of having a platform. They're guys that actually know what's going on in the content creation world and seeing what Twitch is doing, looking at what Kick is doing. And they're not, and one of the things that I really like is that they're not just taking what Kick and Twitch have and importing it into their platform. They're saying, well, let's figure out how we could implement this differently so that it's unique enough so that it doesn't just feel like Kick 2.0 or Twitch 2.0. Now, only time will tell as the platform grows, but
Right.
as it stands right now, this is my home, and, I'm glad that my friend Deceptus had posted that tweet, because otherwise I wouldn't have never heard of it before. So,
Right. And I agree with you 100%. Like, Twitch, I would almost tweak my analogy, like when you said, Twitch and Kick, they take one step forward and 4 steps back. I would say Twitch takes one step forward and, some steps to the side and backwards, they're doing a dance.
yeah, exactly.
And to me, it feels like Kick is like fishing with dynamite. They're gonna get the fish,
but is it gonna blow up?
how big is the mess? So, 100% agree with you, and I think that's what what turned us away from it as well. Is we saw that coming. We saw that there really wasn't. It didn't feel like there was a clear path to success with it. The issues that came up that are still coming up on Kick, in Twitch, it just, I don't know. We felt like we needed something different from Twitch, so that's how we ended up here. We saw a post about LiveSpace, and I kind of watched it a little bit before I said anything to Lady, and I was like, hey, let's go check this out. We're both agreeing we're not happy with where we're at. We were streaming solely to YouTube for a little while, but even that was like, live streaming. It's like you said, live streaming to YouTube is a challenge in itself.
Yeah,
you kept telling me to go try it on my own, and I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
You actually have to there's like a whole thing where you got to set up the stream, then you got to set up like a thumbnail thing. It's not as simple as just like doing it all in OBS and then going.
Yeah.
It's a process, and it's ridiculous, honestly.
Yep.
And that's why I just do edited videos and VOD content. And I feel like YouTube, I'm sorry, but I feel like YouTube is always going to be that way. Unless something drastic happens with the live streaming side of it, it's always going to be meant for video on demand content, whether that be shorts or edited videos.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can see it. At least, yeah, like you said, unless something changes with the way live streaming, or The only way I feel like you get anywhere as far as being a live streamer is you got to have a huge following that to bring to the table already. Otherwise, it's a long term game. It's not like turning
Oh
on
yeah.
MySpace or Kick or Twitch, you know. Or you gotta hope that you got the right hashtag and people take a look and
Right.
love the energy right off the bat. Like they got to be immediately invested in order to stick around.
I will say though, on Twitch, the wrestling community is great.
Yeah,
And that's only because wrestling gaming is very, very niche. But if you're playing Call of Duty and stuff like that, you're not gonna, yeah. Like,
yeah, unless you, and I hate saying this because everybody else says don't be like that this person, but like in order to get past the initial grind, like if you want to fast track it, you got to get in there with somebody who already has a big community, be a part of the game with them, play with them, get your name, but basically, you basically got to use somebody to get to a better spot, unless you're okay with putting in the work, which, not knocking anybody either way because everybody's path to success is different. Do I agree with certain paths to success? No, but I get it at the same time. Everybody's going to do things the way that they do it. So let's talk about networking for a minute.
Yep.
This is a topic that we've covered since we brought System into the beginning, and since I see him here in chat and everything, I'm going to use. I love
that dude.
I love putting System under the spotlight because of this, because it's just I still respect the hell out of that he can pull this off. Okay.
Acknowledge me, System. Acknowledge me. I'm the tribal chief, bitch.
But when it comes to networking, how do you go about it? Okay, and I'm gonna use myself and System as two different examples. Okay, so we can kind of see where you stand on. System can put up half a dozen tabs at one time and have half a dozen conversations at one time. Okay, his brain is wired.
I don't know how he does it.
I don't either. That's why I love putting him on the spot, because he does it and it works, and he's very good at it. Okay, so I'm not knocking him for what he does. I'm giving him all the credit in the world. He's that kind of. My brain can't function past. Lady wasn't kidding when she made the joke earlier. I struggle to keep my attention on one conversation like her. Like with her, she'll be telling me something, and if I got something else going on, like I'm one of those. If I'm
It's
watching,
like your brain's like here, and this is here, and
The other night, prime example, we agreed we were going to discuss a budget about a trip for our anniversary, and he had turned the TV on. He had to pause the TV to physically be able to coherently engage in the conversation with me because he couldn't focus on both.
Mm-hmm.
I'm that way too, so don't feel bad.
Okay, so that you kind of just answered my question. So, do you in one stream or you have multiple streams? Like, how do you go about your networking?
So honestly, a lot of it's through social media. A lot of it's not even going on streams.
Okay.
I'm a big social media guy. That's how I got the relationship I've developed with Lynn. That's how I got the relationship that I developed with Chrissy Costanza. That's how I've gotten to meet wrestlers. I mean, of course, I've gone to events, paid for tickets and whatnot. But in the streaming sort of sense, I will come by somebody's stream, and if I like their vibe, I'll straight up, like I'll even use System as an example. I came by his stream, and I think he was playing Detroit Become Human, and I was just chatting with him, and then we started talking about wrestling, and then as soon as we started talking about wrestling, it was over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, okay. No, another guy, Lucha Sausage, huge example of this.
Mm-hmm.
This dude, I saw like the thumbnail of his stream, and I was like, what the hell is this dude wearing? Is he wearing a lucha mask? I'm like, this guy's got to be a wrestling fan, or it's got to be some gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be some gimmick. And literally my first question to him was, please tell me you're a wrestling fan and it's not just some gimmick. And he's like, yes, I am. And I'm like, all right, we're friends. Good. we're good. Like, I vibe with people so well. Like, I'm able to get your vibe so well. So you can't, I'm not a guy that you can BS, because I can see right through it.
Okay.
I'm not. Unless you're just really that manipulative. And you're just really that good. But most of the time I can easily tell what kind of person you are. That's not that hard. But in terms of networking, yeah, I just go through social media. I might check out somebody's stream and like, honestly, when I was checking out you guys and I was seeing you guys play with each other, on
Oh,
not in that way.
G-rated chat.
Hilarious. I knew as soon as I said that was gonna be taken.
Trust me, we save that kind of playing for our ladies only fans account.
Oh, yep. That's subscribe. But anyways, like yeah, when I was watching you guys, I think it was Valorant. I was watching you guys play, and all I hear is Lady go fucking cocksucker, and I'm like, and I'm just like, and I'm just like, did I just hear that? Like,
Yep.
and then you're sitting there acting as if nothing happened, like you just had the most blank expression on your face, and I'm like these two have to be married or together or something, and I knew because there's no way that a guy would just sit there, hear that, and have no reaction, like at all, like.
Believe it or not, she is. We do a lot of gaming off stream as well, right?
Right.
She is 10 times worse off stream.
Oh, I can imagine.
Some of the shit, I worry that
you would not even believe.
Some
Your
of the,
mother's a whore.
oh no, she'll say that on stream.
I know, but
I will yell at somebody. Your mama's a whore.
And I'm like, and I thought everything that I say is terrible, but I'm like, dude, like
No, I mean, get me into GTA and you'll hear some really bizarre
oh my
shit.
god.
When you start
probably
hearing
the role play stuff, yeah.
Yes. When you start seeing my Maddie character come out, everybody's like, where the fuck did this come from? Because it is a whole other side to Lady.
And
100%. It's like when you hear me talk in character versus my normal voice. I actually creeped out a lot of my friends doing that because they're like, "That's you," and I'm like, "Yeah." And
I did that once.
I said I'm a voice actor. Like, I can do Yoda, I can do Joker. Like, I creep out people all the time with the stuff that I can do. Like doing the Russian accent. Like I can do this one. I
did that once. I scared, I think, our entire community one night.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
We were admins in this city, and they allowed me to torture somebody in a torture room. And I think by the time we all left, the entire admin team was sitting in this room, and we could hear everybody. And by the time I was done, the whole fucking room was silent, and they were like, "Did that just happen?"
Yeah.
I was like, I asked for permission. You gave me permission.
When I started doing the Joker voice, that's when my friends started to freak out. Like they're, and because they're like, dude, you do that way too well. And but with the networking thing, yeah, I just go into people's streams and sometimes I'll connect with them on social media or they'll reach out to me. I've had people reach out to me and just say, hey, I saw your clip, or hey, I like your content. But I'm just me, man. And I think that that's just it. Like, I'm just me. And I think, that's why I have the relationship I have with Lynn, and just being me is enough. So I think, my passion and all that stuff kind of speaks for itself.
And it has to. I mean, you have to have that for the projects that you're involved in, right? Whether it's your wrestling content, photography, writing music, writing a book, all the stuff that you said that you're doing. None of that stuff works. Like for Lady and I, it works. Our system works for us, right? And we may never blow up big or whatever, but we vibe off of each other. We've gotten accustomed to where we have to vibe off each other, and sometimes it's sometimes a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. But for you, you have to have that energy. You have to have that, and that's why I was wondering earlier: is it difficult for you to keep that energy all the way? And you said no, because that's who you are. And I think that's
I'm just loud.
Because like I'm looking at your YouTube here, and for you to do
A couple of YouTube shorts just went live up there too, right?
um but no, I'm just
Carson with a C this time.
well
It's 426 feet.
exactly, you got to have that though in order for it to work, and you wouldn't have 917 subscribers if you didn't have that energy all the way through it. You know, I've had it muted, and I've been checking some of your stuff out just so I can kind of see if there's something, but it's all the same. I can because and for you to be where you are, for you to do the things that you do, you clearly have the energy, you clearly have the passion. That's why I also have a lot of admiration and respect for the fact that you're saying that you are struggling all the time with depression because
It's a bitch.
well yeah but yeah
it is.
but
For
if
lack of a
but
better
it,
word, it
but
is.
but that's one of the reasons for doing these podcasts is for people to understand. Just because you go in and you see somebody have that energy, have that high profile energy, have that constant, you know, go mentality, don't mistake that for everything's peaches and roses, you know. And I have nothing but respect for that you can do that, and but you're there for everybody, like everything that you do, the way that you've explained what you've gone through with what you have to deal with, right?
Yeah.
All around, to go from having cerebral palsy to where you've overcome just, you know, the a potential issue of holding a controller, right? Because that was my first question as soon as you told me what you had and explained it, the condition, to where you have the energy, to where where do you know, you went from YouTube, you went to
Well, right here, see, I can hold it.
I'm saying, like, I want to give you, I want to make sure you get all the respect for what you know, so people can hear everything that you go through, you know. And everybody's journey is different, you know, whether we talk about what system to Ram to Dana to Joker, to Zara, you know, Zara talking a little bit about his anxiety and his depression, Joker having to talk about how he comes home from, you know, a long day of dealing with what he's got to, and then he comes on here to give more love and support. You know, he spends his whole day as a football coach, you know, and he's investing his time in other people, comes home, and yes,
Kids, yeah.
and he comes home, he has his family, to then turn around and invest more of his time for his community. To System and Dana, you know, they go through what the things that they you know, System has dealt with a bad relationship as well. Dana dealing with a bad relationship. They found each other. They were able to bring their families
That's
together.
a beautiful thing, man.
They bring their families together. They're going through that, to still come in, turn the games on, turn the streams on, and do that. Ram explained his issues with, you know, his bits of depression and anxiety when it comes to. Everybody deals with the same thing, but everybody's story is different, and
Yeah.
no two stories have been the same. You know,
Yeah.
System and Dana, they might be a couple. Their stories are not the same. There might be some similarities, but different. You know, different paths, different ways of dealing. Ram and Joker, different paths, different ways. You and Zara, similar issues with anxiety and depression, different paths and different journeys, different ways of dealing. Ultimately, it's you guys have all touched on different ways of dealing with everything. Um,
Couldn't do it without Lindsay.
and you know what? Everybody's coping mechanism is different. Everybody's ways of getting past things has been different. But it's a matter of, you said it best, and I think you summarized what everybody else has said, is you got two options. You can lay in bed and feel bad for yourself and think, okay, well, you know what? Fuck this. I'm just, why do I bother? We have a choice. Do that, or let's get up, keep pushing, and keep showing that we can get through it. You know, whether it's battling with depression, whether it's you know, Joker and Lucha battling with their addiction to touching each other's butts in weird ways. You know, everybody's got different things they got to
I
overcome.
like butt stuff.
You know, hey, everybody likes their butt stuff, whether you admit it or not. That's a whole other story. Okay, there's things I could tell you the system lets me do to him. You know, that's okay. I mean, that's a whole other story.
Man.
All right,
I think the thing that Lead is forgetting in all of this is he touched on all of you guys, and I think that this is the thing he does not give himself enough credit for, is how much he deals with and still comes in and gives it everything he's got. He is probably one of the most inspiring people and is completely unaware of it, or doesn't think he deserves it, completely clueless of
So
how
you and I are the
inspiring
same
he
then.
is to somebody else.
It's, I mean, yes and no. I try to stay off of myself because the point of doing this is not about me. Like, that's why I stress everybody. I don't want you to follow me. It's not a requirement. I don't ask for any requirement. You could unfollow me tomorrow. You could. Let me shoot.
I put him on the spot.
No,
I'm
I'm trying to pull a name out of my ass that somebody could not be following me and they could come and say, "Hey, can I do the podcast?" Absolutely. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this is fun
I'm
for
just
me. I
honored
love
that
it.
you guys had me on it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Like, like for real.
I think the thing that I was trying to hit home on the point that he makes is that, yeah, everybody's got something and everybody's dealing with something, but I am not the greatest person at hiding what I'm feeling when we are live. It is all the fuck all over my face. But he could be having a bad fucking night and you wouldn't even fucking know it because he's on top of the moon and on 10 and I'm over here like, Jesus Christ.
He's like, yeah, there's a guy over there. Hey,
Yep.
hey,
I'm like,
Spike,
where?
Spike there.
Where?
Like, yeah, like he definitely gives that vibe off. Like, a lot of people.
Last night was proof. We played Fortnite and it was, babe, he's right there. Where the fuck is right there?
right there. No, there's two of them.
But where the fuck is right there and where the fuck did the other one come from?
well, and going back to like what everybody's talked about is streaming. Your streams are you. We talked about this really with System and with Ram early on, and we didn't really go too much into this. But I'll say it again. Your streams are about you. Okay, I don't care how big you are, big, small, whatever. Okay, sure, you might be a great Fortnite player, Valorant player, whatever. Botch here could be the best fucking. He could be Jim Ross on in the streaming world. Whatever.
I wish.
But at the end of the day, what makes your streams unique is you, right? It's your experiences. That's why I keep touching on the fact that Botch puts so much passion and energy. I'm not saying nobody else does, okay? But Botch is our guest today, so we're talking about Botch. Botch puts his energy, and then just listening to him, just everything. You can tell his passion, whether it's his passion just to talk to Lynn, whether it's his passion for wrestling, whether it's been his passion to, for talking about his content. Passion, period. That passion pulling from his life experiences, putting how much he invests into it. You hear it, and that is what makes your stuff unique. You touched on people who like doing the same content. Sure, there's other wrestling commentators, but it's like you said. You find that might work for them, but your way works for you. You make your own stories. You change how the course of it goes, and no matter what your stream's doing, you always try to make sure you bring it back to the story, so you're putting out that product for them.
Right.
Using a WWE analogy there, you want the best product going out to your viewers.
Right, exactly.
So
the craziest thing is the game doesn't have a lot of features either. Like, if you look at it, it's bare bones. If you look
That's
at
what
universe,
you bring to it.
if you look at universe mode, yes, it's a mode that needs love, and that's the mode that I use to create the show. 100% needs love, and I'm the most critical person about the game. But like, people will tell me like I'm kissing like 2K's ass for like praising them for the smallest of things, and it's like, well, if I can do this, then why can't you? Like, yeah, you don't have to create content to make a game fun. Like, everybody's like, well, you're a content creator, so we're not going to care about that stuff. And my mod Young Sin said it best the other day when I was talking to him. People are like, oh, this game is dead. It's like, no. You make the game dead by not doing anything with it. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with it. Every time I show people how I create stuff, they're like, you can do this in this game? And I'm like, yep. You can do that.
Yeah.
Like literally taking a character, Riley Russo, giving something away. She's going to be a new character. Like, I'll come up with a backstory for her. I have a facial texture for her. She'll have like her own look. Bella Durov, the Moscow product, Russian wrestler from Moscow. Whose father was killed scaling the Berlin Wall. Like, those are things that I came up with.
Okay.
Like the Red Scare. That's her finisher. Why? Because Russian
That
history, the Red Scare. Like
I'm
those are
glad
all.
I'm glad you clarified that because my brain went a whole other way when you said that. So I'm not about to lie. So
Oh my god.
I'm just putting it out there. Like, if you hadn't clarified, I think, and I know it would
What,
Joker.
the Red Scare?
Yeah, just think of the dirtiest way you could imagine. Like that just is like, what the fuck.
Well, y'all are a bunch of perverts.
I've been married to a lady for too long. Okay, it's not my fault.
What?
So
Y'all, this is not my fault. This is all him. Don't even. He was fucked up before I married him. Before he even met me.
yeah,
He
and then
was
I married you, and
the
it went.
fucked up.
Then I married you, and
But
it
you
got 10 times
agreed
worse.
to it. You agreed. You said yes. You're
Shit.
wrapped
I'm
now.
proud to say I have almost been married to my 50 Shades of Fucked Up for 14 years.
50 Shades of fucked up. I like that. It's funny.
But going, it's going back to all that. You know, it's just.
This part you do OnlyFans. I can't.
You've lost. Lee's lost all attention in this now. The
No.
OnlyFans is all he's thinking about.
No, I wish I could say that was the case, but I've already got the only. I've already got an OnlyFans for you. I take pictures of you and post them without you knowing. So, I've been making bank off of that and saving up for a house on that one. So,
There you go.
yeah. But no,
I will never
Wait.
send you a half-naked picture again.
you should see the ones I take while you're sleeping. So,
Oh my god.
no, and just thinking, it's. I'm just getting lost in everything that we've talked about because like we've covered so much, and I'm looking at and it feels like we've been talking for hours, and yes, to an extent we have, but not. When I say hours, I'm thinking it feels like it's been 6 hours,
7 hours.
but we've covered so much in such a short amount of time because we've only been here for a little over 2 hours now, and we've covered
Yep.
a lot of heavy topics. You've talked about your, you had your trolls come through, you had. Your experiences from changing platforms and everything, and your reasons for changing platforms. We took our little jabs at Kick like everybody loves to do. Talked about social media stuff. You talked about things that have kept you going. Your experiences with Lynn, with your passion with
Yep.
content.
Got the John Hancock right here.
The only last question that I have is what do we have to look forward to in the future? Any new projects? Anything that you're excited to tell us about?
Other than a book,
Okay, and what's your book about?
actually, it goes along with my YouTube stuff. So basically, it's written in the lens of my wrestling character Brian Outlaw that I created in 2K, and it's written as if all of his family is retired from wrestling. They're not wrestling anymore. They're not in-ring competitors, and he's kind of reflecting on his career and telling his story. But it's not something where you can watch it on YouTube and see everything. It's stuff that you're going to have to actually read the book to get more detail on the characters.
Is it like a
It's kind
biography?
of like watching. It's kind of like watching Harry Potter, where you only get half the shit from the movie. And if you really
Right.
want to know the whole fucking story, you got to get in the books.
Yeah, it's like an autobiographical fiction.
Okay.
So there's
Okay.
fictional elements, but it's obviously inspired by my life, just like most of my content is. But I'm working on that. I'm working on an album, a score
Yeah, I meant to ask you.
orchestral album.
I meant to ask you about that. We just the conversation kind of kept flowing through it to where I couldn't. What kind of music is it? Because we haven't really touched on that.
It's a score orchestral album, so like Hans Zimmer.
I'm musically stupid to the worst
Hans
degree.
Zimmer is the composer for the Disney movie Lion King.
Oh, okay.
So he did part of, I want to say he did Gladiator, the music in Gladiator. He's a very, very famous composer, so he's done a lot like
Probably 90% of every movie you've seen has got something of his in it.
And that's-
probably, yeah.
Hey, I had to ask because I'm the kind of person you could put on.
You can put on Mariah Carey, and he'd tell you it's Whitney Houston.
Yeah, I wouldn't know the difference between one
He
artist
doesn't
over
know.
another. I just love listening to music, so.
Tyler Bates too is another one that I like.
Okay.
And he did the music for The Punisher, the Netflix series, The Punisher.
Oh, okay.
So he did the music for that. I love, and plus with wrestling, it's the entrance music. You know when the glass shatters that Stone Cold's gonna come down and whoop ass, and that's what's gonna happen. You know, as soon as that gong sounds, the Undertaker's gonna come out and choke slam somebody or tombstone somebody. Like, you know that's gonna happen. So, like, most of the music, I love music with lyrics and everything. Like, I love everything, but there's a lot of time where I'll listen to like WWE themes.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Because I know that DX's theme has lyrics in it, like the "Are you ready? Break it down."
Yeah.
It's just the classic because that's what people attribute wrestlers to. They know the music, so they know character, and so that's that's what I'm trying to work on. The album's called Skyline. I have a track list, and that's pretty much as far as I've gotten. I think I'm close to completing the first single off of it, but other than that, I don't. I got that, and then obviously 2K24 come out next week, so more of the usual RCW stuff. But that is something. Those are like two of my biggest projects that I would say aren't streaming related. The album and the book that's being done.
Okay. That's exciting, though.
Yeah, it is. I wrote I actually wrote 5 chapters, completely scrapped it because I was like, I don't like this, and so I completely scrapped it and started over. But I started it in college, and then college got hectic, and when I graduated in 2021, didn't go back to it because I got busy doing other things. But some authors take years to put books out, so
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's it's not something I'm rushing because I wanted it to be beautiful and perfect, just like everything else. I'm a perfectionist, so that's
Now,
blessing and a curse there.
Do you find that's a hindrance when it comes to making your content? Like, because I can imagine that being a perfectionist.
Oh yeah.
Doing commentary, if it doesn't sound right or it's not the timing's off or whatever, do those things play a factor in your content?
Yeah, sometimes it's like commentary, not so much because the passion is there. Sometimes I'll listen to myself back and I'll be like, "What the hell did you just say?" Like, or something like that. And I use this app on my phone called makes captions through AI. It takes the audio and it just makes captions and custom fonts and things like that. And that's how I have all my TikToks and shorts and everything else. And I have this vertical plugin on OBS that makes all my scenes vertical, so I can do stuff for TikTok, so I don't have to edit it and make it vertical and things like that. So it's a little easier.
Nice. Okay.
It's really, really easier. But yeah, with commentary, not really. Like, I'm not, because Michael Cole, who's the commentator for Raw, like, he ain't perfect either. And Jim Ross, he ain't perfect.
Right.
But you can still see and hear the passion. I don't know how he commentates as much. Dead after commentating all those matches. I don't know how my voice isn't dead. The longest the longest show that I've done was 10 matches. And I'll never do that again because that was a lot.
I can imagine.
But usually with pay-per-views, like I'll do 4 matches on a regular show. I might increase it to 5 this year, but usually it'll be the most on a pay-per-view will be 8 or 9.
Okay.
But now that I've gone away from the seasonal format, because I used to do 20 episodes a season with 2 pay-per-views, so you would have about 2 months of build for a pay-per-view of storylines. But now it's going to be more frequent now. So I'm going to have, and I'm actually not. I'm actually like being able to not like handicap myself by doing this, because it's like I feel like if I missed an episode, it throws me off. But now that I'm not doing that format anymore, it's a little bit easier. So I can have more pay-per-views, more things. It's all gonna be all created characters, because I used to use the actual wrestlers that were in the game, but now I'm gonna use just my created characters this year
Okay.
and years going forward, just because it's more fun, and I really want the viewers to be a part of it. Um, I I've done it before where I've created characters, so I will make attires for people. I will make logos for those attires. On my merch store, there are shirts for the superstars, so it actually does feel like a real person. So there are shirts that they will wear in the game that will be theirs, and they'll come out with the shirts, and they'll wear the shirts just like any real wrestler would in WWE. They wear their merch.
Okay.
Obviously I make all the titles, but I have to give credit to my mod Young Sin, because him and I really fun. Yeah, it's insane. Next Tuesday is 2K24 day, so that's gonna be one of the Tuesdays I do stream. Get all my sliders done. I want to start right away.
Okay. Now,
Right away.
what time do you normally stream for everybody who's listening?
Usually around 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Central Time. So most people are at work during that time, and I do get that. And the only reason why I do stream during those times, because obviously I have the most energy. I usually eat breakfast, take a shower, and then stream, and that's how it is.
Okay. That's fair.
But
you got to play to your strengths and make sure that,
yeah.
got to have that energy the entire time. So I get it. Making sure that you can do that.
Right, and when you're commentating and doing all that, because I'm commentating the match and playing it, so
Okay, that's fair.
I have to have all that, and people are like, "How do you do that?" And I'm like, "I'm planning the next spot. They call it a spot
right.
in the match, so I'm like planning the next spot in my head as I'm commentating the match, and so I'm doing the match and playing the game simultaneously, and then sometimes I'll switch from play-by-play to color commentary. Sometimes I'll have mod in Discord, and I'll pull up the OBS like screen preview so he can see what I see in real time, and we'll commentate it together. We plan on collaborating on stuff, and now you can create a referee this year, which that means that Shannon Gray, our referee, is going to be signed to an RCW contract and a referee this year. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, like I stream like midday usually. Sometimes I'll stream later depending on what I got going on. Sometimes I'll have impromptu streams where it's like, okay, I feel like streaming today. Let me just do just chatting streams. But there are times where I did one stream that was 7 hours.
Oh wow.
And that was a few days ago. And I did about 3 to 4 hours of the missions baseball, and then I got into attires, because here's the thing: when I get into attires and creating characters, like I'm just like, I may not even realize that I'm still streaming, and like 2 to 3 hours will go by, and before you know it, there it is, streaming for 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever. Like, and it's like, holy crap, I've been really doing. And I'll do that because I just love the creation process of making a character, and sometimes I'll take the screenshot, I'll remove the background of the game, and I'll create like art edit of them and then post it. Like with Scarlet Nova, I have like edits of her in space and stuff like that, and but she's in the game, but I remove the background and put her like in space with a bunch of stars and galaxies and other things.
Nice.
And yeah, so yeah, that's when
details.
That's when I usually stream. But anybody that misses RCW when it's live, it's always on my YouTube, and I always post it in the social feed in live space. I always post a link to it so you can go directly there. I've always done that. That's always been a thing that I've always done since RC 2018. So,
Okay.
um,
And for those of you
that's
listening or watching the live stream, if you're going to be listening, if you're listening on Spotify when you hear this, YouTube link is in the chat. It does everybody's. If you have a YouTube, anybody that's had one, we've included it in the description. So make sure that when you're listening, you go in and check out the description, so that way you can get that link and go check it out that way as well. So make sure you guys click that. When you go to YouTube, guys, this is one thing I want to stress. I want to interject here, guys. Please, when you go to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. If you really like the content, hit that bell notification so you can get notified when a new video drops for somebody, or if it does go live on YouTube. If you watch a video to help the channels grow, to get the engagement as well, just simply hit that thumbs up button. All of that
Comment
stuff.
always helps too.
Absolutely,
any
comment
type
helps.
of engagement does.
Yeah, but at the very least, give it a thumbs up. Whether it's botches, ladies, jokers, take some time to actually go there and hit that thumbs up as well as the subscribe button. Not saying you're gonna turn notifications on, because I get it. We all have a bunch of people that we love to watch. So if you turn notifications on, you get spammed with all those notifications, especially in, if there's a lot of content coming out. But at the very least, please make sure you do that for your creators that you're going there to support. Hit the subscribe button, and when you watch the video, hit that like button as well. Sorry, just had to throw that in real quick. But
Selfless plug.
yeah, I don't. My last major question. We talked about like future plans. You kind of just touched on other content stuff. So do
Yep.
you set goals and stuff like or milestone goals, like so many subscribers in X amount of time, or sub goals, anything really?
No. And the reason why I don't is because I respect everybody that sets those goals. If that's what keeps you going, great. At least have something that keeps you going, whether it's that or just because you love what you're doing. But me, I don't do that because I feel like I'm setting an expectation for myself. And if I don't achieve that, that's going to hurt me, like mentally. That's going to kill me.
Okay.
And so I don't do that. My goal really ultimately is to work in the wrestling industry, whether that be with TNA, WWE, AEW, or a local company. That's my ultimate goal. And that's even outside of streaming. If RCW helps me get to that point, then awesome. I've had a lot of interactions with Saraya, also known as Paige from WWE, Sting.
Oh, wow.
I met Sting, which he's absolutely incredible.
I've heard that he's really cool to meet.
Oh yeah, he is. Chris Jericho and a bunch of other wrestlers as well. Mick Foley was awesome. He was probably the most memorable just because of the conversation that him and I had.
I can imagine with him.
And he was, I remember him telling me that, because I questioned him about him falling 15 feet off of a cell onto concrete. For those of you that don't know, that's King of the Ring 1998, Mankind versus The Undertaker.
Yep.
And that was the greatest Hell in a Cell match ever.
I mean, it's still talked about to this day. So
ever, and that's one of the things that I remember him telling me was, be yourself. Like, you don't have to do all the crazy things that I did in my career. You just have to be yourself. And you're passionate, and I can see it, and that's gonna get you far.
nice.
So it was good to hear that from him, and to talk with Sting and all that. But yeah, I don't set those goals because I feel that if I do, then I don't achieve them in X amount of time, then it's gonna hurt me. But I feel like, for example, if one day I woke up tomorrow or within the next week and I hit 1,000 subs on my YouTube, I would be grateful for that. That's not to say I wouldn't be grateful, because I am. But I never want my community to ever feel they're just numbers. And I feel like when you start obsessing over numeric goals like that, and you see, I mean, we've seen it. People saying, "Oh, thanks for the 20 gifted sub, 100 subs, or whatever the case is."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all for people celebrating their accomplishments, but at some point, you got to remember that that's your community.
Yeah.
That they're more than just a number. Somebody donated to you for a reason. Somebody gifted all those subs to you for a reason. Hopefully, it's for a good reason and not a malicious one. But somebody, if I don't care if somebody doesn't like wrestling, because I've had people tell me I don't watch wrestling, but I enjoy watching you, and I think that to me is the greatest compliment that I could receive, is from any viewer that comes to my stream. Even if you're not into wrestling, but the story helps you in some way, or the story entertains you in some way, it is the best it can be.
Absolutely.
And that's, and I feel like when you're meeting wrestlers at the rate that I am, and you're getting to talk with them, and some of them do know what I do, but like when you hear Saraya, in this case Paige, who's my favorite of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason for that. One, she was like the first like wrestling crush I've ever had, and two, she was just absolutely awesome. For WWE, she was huge in WWE, and doing all the things to give divas a chance, and to make wrestling, at least in a big company like WWE, better for women, alongside Nikki Bella and the Bella Twins and AJ. Instead of them being eye candy, they were treated as wrestlers.
Yeah.
And and that's what I value Paige for. I mean, Paige is a very attractive woman, but very skilled in the ring, and she was so damn good. But getting the getting to chat with her when she was streaming during the pandemic and all that, and just all the interactions that I've gotten and all the opportunities that I've gotten, that's ultimately why I do this.
Right.
It's not because I want money. It's not, I mean, hell, if I get to that point, that would be awesome.
Right.
I don't think any of us would turn that down. You'd kind of be dumb if you
Oh yeah.
yeah, if you if you got to that point and you turned it down, like that would be a dumb decision.
Right.
Absolutely.
Especially if you could actually financially support yourself. But I've said it again, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Like, I don't do this for money. I do this to share stories of my life that otherwise I don't think I would be able to.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was at one point that I was scared to do those things. And now, if I can play, I've become the character of Brian Outlaw. Like, he's not even a character anymore. He is me now. So
Right.
it's one of those. It's one of those things. Like, creating his personality, it was something that I wanted to step into. It was a character I wanted to grow into, because I cared so much about what other people thought about me, and now I don't. Now I don't care. And like, sure, it hurts when people say mean things, and it affects you a little bit, but like, sometimes you got to dust it off, put on your big girl panties, as my grandmother would say, and be ready, because if you let something like that, and I understand mental health is a big thing, and that somebody's not going to have as thick skin, but in this grand scheme of things, in content creation, if you don't, it's going to be tough. And that's the honest truth to it. And that's just it. Like, I love saying the Hitman over and over and over when Carson Pittman steps in the batter's box, or like, that's, or David Hazard when he steps in the batter's box. And trust me, those guys have become household names. I never thought a guy that was randomly generated, Carson Pittman, would become a household name, but the Hitman has become a household name. So, it's, I guess the greatest feeling is the fact that, when I hear compliments, just like what you said, Misfit, when you were talking about how, the passion that I put into it, that's why I do it. because of compliments like that, stuff
Okay.
like that, and it, I don't think. I don't think I even until to Lady's point where she was saying how you were always, inspirational to people and maybe you don't realize it. It's like for me, I didn't realize that my stories and all of this was having an effect on people, especially people that I've met,
Right.
within the wrestling industry. When I tell them what I do and tell them, because there are some times where I'm able to have 5 to 10 minutes with them and tell them all,
Hmm.
and I take advantage of my time that I have. And so, to see that come from people that have been in wrestling, Sting, for example, he told me, he's like, oh, I love it how you go back in time and watch things before your time because that proves that you're a real fan, and he goes, I've had a lot of great moments in my career. You're going to create some of your own.
Yep.
And to have Sting say that, that's Sting. That's not just anybody. That's
Yeah.
Sting. That's the face of WCW on TNT back early
Back in the
2000.
day, yeah.
Like that's Sting, and my heart goes out to him, and he'll be having his last match at AEW Revolution this weekend. But that's to have somebody say that, and to have my stories affect people in the way that they do. That's the most rewarding thing out of all of it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am pretty much out of questions for you. I think
Yeah,
we've covered.
me too.
We've covered.
I've covered
a
it
lot.
all.
I'm
Yeah.
sure I'm sure if we put some more time into it, I'm sure we could come up with more. But I think at the moment, I think we've covered everything from start to finish. Your experiences, your mentality behind things. Um, it's been a great conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm trying to rack my brain for anything else to make sure I covered everything that I think that people need to hear in order to at least get to have at least form a good opinion to come in and check out your stuff because and the reason I said it is because you have a very specific content, whereas
You have a niche.
Right.
thank you. So I just want to make sure, like, when people they're hearing everything behind it, that they're understanding what you do, why you do it, how you do it. Like, they really get a feel for that market of it, and maybe because maybe wrestling isn't your thing, but at least they can say, hey, he's putting his passion into it. Maybe I can. This is something I can enjoy. Maybe this is something I can get behind. Um,
Yeah, there's a lot of people that will literally just have me on.
mhm.
They won't see the video, but they'll hear me,
Right.
and that'll be enough for them
Exactly.
for whatever reason. And that's not to toot my own horn, but I've had people tell me that they're like, I'm lurking in your stream. I may not see you, but I may hear you, and you're screaming at the top of your lungs because Carson Pittman hit a homer, and you're saying the Hitman 426, screaming your head off. Like that's like, and to me, to know that people can feel the energy and not even see me.
Hmm.
They don't see me because even if you're watching my stream, there's no camera on.
Right.
You see me now, but it's only because I bought my camera on.
Yeah.
But in my stream you don't, so you feel that energy and you hear that what it's for, and that's why, that's why I tell people become a part of the RCW fandom, even if you don't. I guarantee you're gonna find something, whether it's the story, the announcing, the characters. Carson Pittman, the Hitman, he's probably gonna get a big head for honestly bragging about him so much. But but yeah, like whether it's Carson Pittman, the characters, or the story, or the commentary, there's something for everybody. And I think even within that niche, that's enough to 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 get somebody to check out what we do as a community on the channel. And I say we because it's not me.
Right.
It's all of us. We're and my message to anybody is, join the Outlaw family. The Outlaw family believes in living by their own moral code, being who they are and not being sorry for it.
Right.
Like being unapologetically them.
Okay.
And, that's That's what my viewers are. They're the Outlaw family. They're the RCW fandom. Like, they're the ones that started it. If Brian Outlaw wasn't created, none of this been what it is.
Right. But with that being said, I think this is a good stopping point. I might, I've already got some ideas for a couple of future episodes, or at least one more that I want to bring you on for. So I'll definitely be messaging you here in the future to schedule
course.
something. But with that being said, chat, we're gonna wrap this episode up. Keep an eye either tonight or tomorrow. This is gonna be on Spotify, so if you weren't able to be here for the whole thing, that's okay. You can go back and listen to it. Unfortunately, you're not gonna see our sexy faces, but you can at least hear the sweet sounds of our voices.
Sweet, seductive sounds.
Exactly. But I do want to say thank you, Botch, for coming on and talking with us.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes,
Thanks
thank
for having
you.
me.
For everybody listening, everybody who's been watching, I appreciate all of y'all. We will be back live again on Sunday. You guys keep an eye on Twitter for the announcement, because we've got one or two lined up. But it's just a matter of if we're going to do 2 on Sunday or if we're going to stick to 1. But we already got Sunday's episode planned. So with that being said, we're going to call it here. Botch, thank you again, and stand by. We're going to talk to you afterwards. And then everybody else, we will see you guys